Hello, welcome back to Reads of an Apple. My name is Stacy, and today I'm starting my week 27 vlog for 2023. Happy Sunday. It is just about 9 o'clock. And I have done absolutely nothing this weekend. That is how it feels. I had a list. I was like, we have 4 days off. In my brain, I was like, I'll be super busy this weekend and then I can treat Monday and Tuesday as free days. And then I don't know what happened yesterday. I did practically nothing, and I feel like I did nothing productive until like 8 o'clock at night. And then today, I don't know what happened. I started out good, taking care of some little things. I was like, I'll wait and do my laundry on Monday. It's fine. I have 2 more days off. No big deal. And then I finally filmed. So it was supposed to go up today, my June wrap up, because I typically post my videos on Thursdays and Sundays. And I didn't film it till like 11 o'clock this morning. So it is currently exporting. So hopefully that'll be up tomorrow, which will just be a day late. But I have a bunch of extra videos. So for the next couple days, I'm going to have like videos Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, just because I have like a backlog of stuff happening. So I might try to push some things off. So I have extras to do, but there's just so much kind of going on. So I got that done, and then I wanted to work on some other things, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to stop and eat lunch. And then I ate lunch, and then I got sucked into a YouTube wormhole, and I was like, I should at least do something. I was like, even if I'm just crocheting, like, even if I was just like, all right, I should just turn this off and read, because I want to get some good reading done this weekend. And none of that happened. I just went down a YouTube rabbit hole. So yeah, I'm slightly disappointed in myself, but at the same time, this always kind of happens when you have extra days off. And, or at least with me, that I'm like, it's fine. I'll do it tomorrow. So my plan is Monday, tomorrow, to try to get a bunch of stuff done, wake up like at my normal work schedule, which I usually do on the weekends anyway. But you know, and then try to really kind of get going. I do want to try to do 1 or 2 little small things, finish those up tonight before I go to bed, just to feel a little bit better about, you know, the state of my to-do list for the weekend. Although I did make the list for all 4 days, not just Saturday and Sunday. So there's that. But I did take my earrings off. I'm wearing my giraffe tank top, as you can probably see, but I have these really cute giraffe earrings. But when I laid down on the couch earlier, I took them off because they're a little awkward to lay your head down on. But I thought I'd show you them because they're super cute, and I don't wear them very often because they are a little awkward. So let's talk about books. I have more than I expected to talk to you about, but at the same time, it feels like nothing, because I'm like, I should have just read. If I was going to do nothing, I should have just read, you know? But anyway, so Friday night, I did finish The Devilish Mr. Danvers by Vivian Lorette. This is the second book in her Rakes of Fallow Hall series. And here is what I'm going to tell you. I gave this book 5 stars. This book tugged at all of my heartstrings. It had what I was missing from the first book in the series, which, don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed that book and I gave it 4 stars. But I'm not going to go too much into it because I did finish this on the last day of June. So I talk about it in my June wrap up. So I'm going to pop that up there so you can get my thoughts on it. I do kind of touch base on it quite a bit because I had just read it. But it's great. So now I just need to work in the final book in this series, which is The Maddening Lord Montwood. So I still have him sitting on my coffee table. So hopefully I will get to him this month. And then I can move on. I think the next series and her backlist is the Matchmaking, Misadventures in Matchmaking. It's the Matchmaking one, because the first one is the Amnesia book. And I'm reading these in publication order if you didn't know. And then we have the Sins for All Seasons series, which I have read all of those. I've read one or two of the Mistmaking and Adventures books. I've read all of the Sins for Seasons except for the novella in it. And that was actually the first series that I read by Vivian Lorette. And I haven't gone back and reread them, so that's fun. And then I don't know if I'm going to read them or not because I have just recently read them all. But then her most recent series after Sins for All Seasons is The Mating Habits of Scoundrels, of which the final book came out earlier this year in like May, I think is when it was released. And that was a 5-book series. Everything else is trilogies. And then that one's a 5-book series. And then her new series starts in November, I think. So yeah, I'm just having fun rereading books that I've read before and reading books in her backlist that I haven't read before. So I'm hoping to get through my own personal reading challenge here before the Liars Club series starts. And then I will have officially had her backlist at 100%, which is super exciting and also kind of sad, but also super exciting. I feel weird with completing backlists at times because I like for favorite authors to have like one or two that when I really need that pick me up, but at the same time I've gotten into the habit of just rereading books when I really need the pick me up. So I'm trying to push myself to like actually finish backlists because otherwise they get completely out of hand by the time I like pick somebody up again. So let's just talk about reading challenges. So for Guildathon, I use this for Rising Phoenix, which is a character that goes through a rebirth or a transition. This was my final book for Once Upon a Readathon, and this worked for the base of 100 points. For the 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I applied this to Alicia Keys' Keys to the Summer Tour. And the prompts for this was a building on the cover or an author with the keys to your heart, of which both of these work. Any Vivian Lorette book would work for that. But I specifically chose this one for building on the cover. So that's what I'm mainly applying it to, even though it covers both prompts. Then for Read the Season, I had to shift this all the way to holiday number 2 for the letter L. So I finished this Friday night, and I had it started Friday, but then I finished it after I filmed my wrap-up clip for last week. Then I was looking yesterday evening when I was like, I'm going to read for the rest of the evening. I was kind of looking at my plans because I've got, if you haven't seen it, check out my July DBR. There's a lot going on, and I knew I had a specific book I needed to pick up this weekend, which we'll touch base on later. And then I have the Ripped Bodice Summer Bingo. We've got the Buzzing About Romance Summer Reading Challenge, which ends this month. Ripped Bodice goes till the end of next month. I've got Feels Like Summer that also goes through the end of August. My normal quarterly challenges, but those are like in the middle of a month they're like a month off. So those ones I'm not as stressed about. And then what is the other one? We have the Little Cafe Readathon happening the month of July as well. And I know that the fanfiction readathon is coming up soon. So I wanted to just kind of get going on what books I could from my TBR. And I specifically was like, oh, that's right. One of the only books I didn't already have kind of like picked out as an option was for the Buzzing About Romance prompt for the Summer Reading Challenge. Buddy read. What is it? It's a buddy read a book so you're supposed to buddy read a book by an author or a book that's mentioned for episode 148, which is their which is an episode that they had fairly recently in the past couple months, that was books that they think deserve more hype, or authors that they think deserve more hype. I was kind of looking at Carrie Elks and a couple other authors that I know Becky is a huge fan of, but I was like, oh, I'll check the Discord, see if anybody has any plans to do some buddy reading. And a couple of people were like, hey, I'm planning on starting Take Me Home by Carrie Elks tonight, if anyone would like to join in. And I was like, I'm in it. Yes, please. I'm up for it. So I checked it out on KU immediately. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to start it later tonight. And then I posted it. I was like, okay, I'm going to start it. So I started it last night. I don't know what time I started it. And I finished it. I pretty much one-shot this book. I could not put it down. This is my introduction to Carrie Elks. I'm giving this book 4.5 stars. I thought the writing was so, it just like drew me in, and I just was living in this small town and I didn't want to leave, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. I love the way that the relationship really built between them. This kind of fits my favorite trope. If you didn't know, my favorite trope is wrong sibling, and this kind of is like the extended universe, so to speak, for the trope, because what this is Grayson and Maddie. And Grayson is a rock star, and he is returning home after his most recent world tour. And, you know, his father was just in the hospital, of which they have a contentious relationship with, but he's really coming home to kind of retouch and like recenter himself before writing his third studio album, and also catch up with his youngest sister and his aunt. Their mother passed away when he was young. His younger sister didn't even, I think, really even meet her. And his aunt, Gina, pretty much moved in right away and helped raise them. And their father was extremely tough on them. All of the four brothers have very contentious relationships with their father. He's a very stubborn, hard man, doesn't express love at all. And so that was kind of tough to read. But he touches base with Maddie, who is actually the younger sister of his high school sweetheart. So this is how it's kind of wrong sibling, but they aren't like currently actively dating or weren't recently together kind of a situation. It's been 10 years, by the way, since he's left after high school. So I don't know. They have this connection. There's some funny scenes about like teenage girls all obsessed over him, and he's trying to keep a low profile, but it's a small town. And so they're just trying to keep like the teeny boppers under control. There is some like misogynistic 1950s, I mean, to borrow from Taylor Swift, some 1950s shit. That is mentioned, but you know, some of the other women clap back on these stereotypes, and it completely swept me away. And we have Maddie, who is back home to take care of her mom. She went away and studied at one of like the premier music schools. She's a pianist. She can play other instruments, but like she is a pianist, and something happens and it's kind of a secret for most of the book. And then she comes home and ends up not graduating, even though she was super close to graduating because of whatever the situation is. And only like 3 people know about it. And so she's very concerned about dating Grayson because she doesn't want to be surrounded by a scandal anymore. She doesn't want to be talked about, gossiped about any more than like you would in a normal small town. And I was so nervous about what this was going to be, and I was trying really hard not to speculate. I did not think that was where it was going. It was bad. It wasn't quite as bad as I was expecting, although it's still horrendous in its own right. But I just love the way where they were just like, we feel weird about the situation of him dating her older sister back in high school and him now being famous. But they're both just like, this is weird and I'm nervous about the situation, especially on Maddie's side. But she was like, I can't not say yes to you in seeing where this goes. And so I loved their connection and the way that she was able to kind of slowly open up, and the way he just kind of naturally knew when he was pushing her too hard to open up to him. And he was like very vocal, like, I want to know more. I want to know everything. But I understand that sometimes things are hard to talk about. And so I just love the way where he was like, I want to know, but I'm not going to push you as far as you're not willing to go. And I loved Grayson and I loved Maddie, and a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I'm certainly intrigued. It's the series is the Heartbreak Brothers, because him, and then he's got the youngest brother, and then Becca's the youngest. But so it's Grayson, and then there's two brothers who are twins, and one of them's a football player, and one of them owns some restaurants. And then we've got Tanner, which I don't really know what he does, but I think he lives in New York. And then Becca is the sister. So everybody has a book. I've heard really good things about Carrie Elk's Wintervale series as well, and I have a new small town author I think I'm just really wanting to binge, which it doesn't really fit my reading plans right now, and I haven't completely caught up in some of my other small town authors that I want to binge. So I'm just like, oh. But there's another one. Here's another one. So if you like the Elsie Silvers, Jenny Buntings, Claire Kingsley, small town, indie, contemporary, with some steam authors, so far so good for Carrie Elks. All right, let's talk about reading challenges. Okay, so, and I will say, before we do the reading challenges, the reason why I docked it half a star is a little bit for the way that that he didn't stand up to his manager and some of the media people that in his life that he is paying. And I understood why they kind of said the things they did, why they were pushing him to make the decisions they did. But I do wish that he would have stood up to them a little bit, especially when it came to things with Maddie. And then I wasn't because of what our big third act conflict is, it's not anything between them. It's external, and it has to do with whatever her situation was, that I'm not going to spoil for you. But I also didn't like the way that his management company handled that, and just the mess with this other person. And I would have liked a little bit of retribution for Maddie, maybe more in the not necessarily jail time, but potential prosecution legalities of the situation, because some of it was illegal and he needed to be dealt with and handled. But she punched this dude in the face, so she did get a little bit of a retribution, but you also can't force her to do something if she's not willing to kind of dredge that all back up. But I just wanted a little more of a stick it to him, but that's my mafia reader side coming out and wanting him to be dead kind of a situation. So that's more of a me thing. I recognize that. So as for reading challenges, for Gildathon, I use this for Eternal Flame, which is a recommendation from a friend. For Feels Like Summer, I applied this to Buddy Read. For the Summer Reading Challenge, I applied this to the Buddy Read prompt as well. For the Ripped Bodice Summer Bingo, I applied this to the reunion prompt because it is a reunion. For the 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I applied this to Lizzo, the special tour, because one of the prompts for that is characters who play an instrument, and they both play instruments, which is great. For Read the Season, I had to apply this all the way to holiday number 3, and I used the letter T for this. Then for the Little Cafe Readathon, already I'm going off TBR and I'm going off of my own. I am Team Cherry, but I applied this to Chocolate Dipped Strawberry. I could have used it for one of my own prompts, but it worked. I would have preferred not crossing off one of those yet. So I applied it to one of the other prompts first, which is chocolate dip strawberry, which is a wealthy character. So that's from Team Strawberry, but I'm Team Cherry. So it at least gets me some points, just not as many points as reading it for my own. I don't know if you can reread books for prompts or reapply prompts. If so, I might switch it to my own team because I earn more points for that. I'll have to see. I'll have to look into that. But so there's that. I read that yesterday in pretty much one sitting. Then just a little bit ago, I was participating in a reading sprint for the Little Cafe Readathon. And even though I had a specific book I really wanted to pick up, I ended up going, I want to get a novella out of the way, and I wanted to read a 4th of July novella for this weekend, just for fun. It feels like summer had a holiday book prompt on it, so I was like, I'm going to do a 4th of July one. So I decided to pick up Yikes on a Cracker. Now, this was on my radar as Hayden's Firecracker, but it was originally in the Firecrackers something, his Firecrackers, the Firecracker Lovers, something like that series. It was a multi-author series with 4th of July based books. However, Megan Wade has since recovered and retitled it to Yikes on a Cracker. I gave this 3 stars. Totally didn't realize the characters are 18 in this. Young adult. For how much smutty content was in this, I felt a little uncomfortable. So in my brain, I was like, they're college. Like, they're both going to college, but I was like, they're in college. I was trying to like age them up in my brain a little bit, or just not think about the fact that they were 18, because that was just a little weird for me. But I mean, it's what you would expect from a Megan Wade novella. It definitely read a lot quicker than some of her other novellas. I feel like this one was in the 40 to 50 page range, and I feel like typically the ones I pick up from her is like the 80 to 100 range. So it was fine. This was our 2 main characters, Hayden and Zoe, and they, next door neighbors, grew up together. When they were 12, Hayden's mother remarried and moved to the big city. And now that they are both 18, they're back in town with 4th of July being on a weekend. And they're hanging out at the Zoe's family's like summer house situation that's on a lake. And it's like, there's like a festival, and they went from a small town to like an even smaller town for this 4th of July celebration. And it's definitely insta love, and he's been in love with her the entire time. He couldn't wait to see her again. He actually planned on going to Notre Dame because he knew that's where she was going to college, to reconnect with her. And she thought that she hated him, but apparently she doesn't. She just hated that he left. But they used to be like complete troublemakers when they were kiddos, and always, amping each other up. But it was cute. It was fine. 3 stars. The biggest thing for me was I didn't realize how young they were going to be. And then there was 2 epilogues 7 years later. And honestly, I would have liked more emotional and romance development in the present day than have 2 epilogues. Like, it just felt unnecessary to me. Okay. Oh, and that's now book 2 in her Sugar Curves series. I can't remember if I said that. So, as for reading challenges, for Guildathon, I use this for Alloy, which is a combination of 2 tropes. For Feels Like Summer, I applied this to Christmas in July, which is read a holiday novella. It does not have to be Christmas. Or just read a holiday story, not novella. For the Summer Reading Challenge, I use this for novella. For the 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I applied this to Harry Styles' Love Tour and I chose the prompt has the word watermelon, sugar, or high in the title or series, and this is in Sugar Curves, the series. Then for Read the Season, I applied this for Summer for the letter S. And then for the Little Cafe Readathon, I applied this to Kiwi Lemon Cheesecake, which is a book, read a book in a genre you don't usually read, and that is young adult. And I would definitely consider this young adult. So what I plan on picking up next is Sweep of the Heart by Alona Andrews. Book club for this is Friday, so I gotta get going on this. I was gonna start this earlier, and then I ended up picking up the novella, but it's fine. I'm gonna take a shower, and then I'm gonna relax and read this for the rest of the night and get as far as I can. This is the thickest book of the series. It is a chunky boy. It's like 440 pages, so it's a thick one. So I gotta get going on this one, but I know it'll go fast because Alona Andrews always does for me. So I'm excited to pick that up. And then I picked out don't ask me why I'm going for winter. Oh, because I hate summer, you know? But I went for this cute kitty in the winter time playing in the snow bookmark. Okay, so I think that's it for books. So let us do the quest calendar. So I will pull all this over here so we can get going on that and wrap up this first clip. So if this is your first weekly vlog with me, I have been playing the quest calendar. It is created by Sundial Games. It is a Colorado-based company, which is super fun. And this is a daily calendar with Saturdays and Sundays combined where you are playing basically a tabletop role-playing game by yourself. So it is D20 based, think along the lines of Dungeons and Dragons, D20 Modern, Pathfinder, that sort of a thing. I am having a lot of fun playing this. This is the second year I've done their daily calendars. As you can see, 2023 is the Voidspark Chronicles. So this is a sci-fi based theme for this year. So think Firefly, Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, you know the thing. I do play with, and I highly recommend if you're interested in getting the Hero Book Companion. It is super great. If you decide to go with any of their pre-made characters, they have a lot of them pre-leveled up in here, which makes things easy. They have made some upgrades to this for 2023, which were definitely positive upgrades. One of those is now your equipment and ship upgrades are in reusable stickers. So that's super fun. We also have our ship character sheet in here. So there is the ship that we are a crew member aboard of, the Karnak. And then I have been playing as Zorilla Tur. She is an Urzen Mystic. So Urzen is a race, Mystic is the class, and we are currently level 4. And I believe the max level in this is 6 that we get to. Yes, 6. So we are currently trying to track down a lady named Andy, who is a friend of some scientists. She is, I think, also a scientist, and she has been captured by Stitchers and some rebel people, but don't think Star Wars rebels, where the rebels are the good guys. These are actually like rebels that are bad. So let's do a quick little catch up on a rundown of what the game looks like, and then we will just kind of start playing. So here is Friday's page. Friday's was a little funky because we got to hire a new crew member, but usually we'll have the script type font. That's the story for the page. Anything in this box with the block style font, that will be the mechanics of how we play that day's page. If it's a combat page, there will be a table telling us number of rolls, number of rounds, that type of thing. Everything we need to know to play the day's page is on the back of the previous day, which you can't really see. So there must not be much going on for today. So let's just get on to it. We have a new task. There was a communications thing sent out that there is an unidentified ship coming to the planet that we're on very quickly. So, oh, okay. Interesting. It says order your 2024 quest calendar now. I haven't gotten the notification that the Kickstarter is up for 2024 yet. I'll have to check. Usually they put a notification in the, like, because if you did the previous year, they send out notifications. I'm also signed up for their newsletter. So I haven't seen any information on that yet, but I'll look into that and I'll let you know. So that would be why there was nothing on that side of the page. So we will move forward. Okay, yeah, so here is all the information we need for today. So that's typically what it looks like, a big, huge block of text. Oh, all right, so I don't know what's happening, but that is a super fun creature. You travel near the outer rim of the Phobos system. Before you get there, you spot a massive object pulsating and moving in the black as it passes over a barren planet. Teeth and tentacles emerge, revealing a living creature large enough to eat planetary objects. Okay, that's fun. All right, so 1, what do you know of such a creature? And then we have 2 options. 2A is fire shot to test its defenses, and 2B is flee. So those are our options. Okay, let us see what we know first. Okay, so what do you know of such a creature? So this will be an intellect roll, reminder student, and arcane adept. We do have both skills. Both gives us a +2, and our intellect is a +1. So we get a total of +5 to our D20 roll. And I do use the dice set that came with. It might be hard to see, but it's like purpley blue, shimmery glitter. It's super pretty. Okay, so that is a 15, so we have 20 total. All right, if the result is 15 or more, fictional stories are told throughout the universe about a planet-devouring creature called a Glutanic. The description is oddly accurate to what you see now. Maybe previous generations have encountered one. It must have come from another dimension through transference energy, a metaphysical force. You relay this information along with your findings back to Security Secretary Amala Boons. Gain 20 credits. Wow, okay. So now we get to choose. Are we going to test its defenses? You know what? I think let's do it. Let's see what information we can gather for everyone in this situation. So I'm going to flip from my character sheet to our ship sheet. And this will just be an aim roll. So for this, our aim is a +20 and we roll percentile die. So that is this die. So it is the D10 and then the D10 in the tens. So this will be our tens digit, and then this will be our single digit. So you roll them together and add 20. So that is 53. So we have a total of 73. So, okay. If the result is 70 or more, the shots you fired at the tentacle's body and teeth, Alexa dismiss, didn't affect the creature, but one missile that went inside its mouth may have gotten a reaction. Was that a flinch? Gain a +20 bonus to your aim rolls on the next page. That is a huge bonus. Okay, well that's exciting. I guess we're fighting it tomorrow. So I can't wait for Monday. And then the final thing that we have is also a new mechanic for 2023 is what they call the Sunday lottery. So that's this box here. What it is when you play your weekend page, you have the choice if you would like to roll a D6. If you roll a 1 or a 2, you gain you lose a little bit of money. If you roll a 3 or higher, you gain a little bit of money. So I always do it just for fun. The odds are in our favor. And that is a 1, so we lose 2 credits. But you know what? Overall for this page, we gained 18 credits. So, we're still moving up in our credits. Not that, we've had anything I've been wanting to buy lately. So we're going to leave it at that. And I'm going to get these credits added to my character sheet and get all my stuff packed up and get ready to take a shower. And then I can spend the rest of the night just relaxing and reading. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. But I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you have a good Monday if you're working or not. It seems like quite a few people, at least in my area, are taking Monday and Tuesday off. So maybe things will be super quiet around town, which is great. But no matter what, I hope you have a good day, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow. Hello. Welcome to my crazy Doctor Who inspired messy bun. Happy July 4th, by the way. I don't know if you can hear it, but we have a crazy thunderstorm happening outside. It's not really raining, but the thunder has been going crazy. So I don't know what's going on with the fireworks show tonight, if the city's still going to do them or not. I don't think I'm going to go. I don't know. I haven't really heard from the people who I usually kind of hang out with and do celebration stuff with on 4th of July. But right now it's just after 5 p.m. So I think I'm just going to probably just stay home the rest of the night. I do have to try to wake up early tomorrow morning and go to the vet to pick up Cheese's medication because I put in my refill notification Saturday morning, hoping it would be done on Saturday so I could go pick it up. And then I didn't get a notification until late yesterday, and I didn't have enough time to get there before they closed. So I called them and I was like, hey, do you offer or are you set up with anybody who does like courier service? And they were like, no. And then I texted my brother's girlfriend and I was like, hey, if you can see this before you leave, is there a way that you could grab her pills and then I can try to meet you at your house in the next couple of days? And then that also saves me having to drive across town. And she didn't see it till after she left. And she was like, I can turn around if she's out. And I was like, no, she's not out. She will miss tonight's dosage, but she's been on a pretty constant dosage that just missing tonight shouldn't mess things up, hopefully. So I just have to go first thing in the morning so I can get it to her for her like 8:30-ish morning dosage. So I will be having to wake up early and I want to be there as soon as they open at like 7:30-ish and then make it back in time. And then make it back home in time to then get ready for work and all that stuff. So I think I'm not going to go anywhere tonight. I might hear from somebody. If I do, I'll try to film a clip. But I ended up not filming a clip last night on Monday because I got sucked into the book I was reading. So let's just go ahead and talk about that. So I did... Oh, I should also mention, I have officially one item left on my to-do list. I didn't grab it. But for my to-do list that I wanted to do these past 4 days, I really hunkered down yesterday and got them done. And it's not like they were super time consuming things because I still had time to read. And I took a couple breaks when the little cafe readathon were doing like an hour sprint a couple of times. And so then I was able to kind of like, okay, I'm doing good. I'll take a break. I'll read for an hour and then I'll get back to doing stuff. So I feel a lot better. But so I got a lot of stuff done yesterday, and then today I did a lot more work in the craft room and in my bedroom a little bit. I cleaned up an extra couple things because I've had stuff that I knew I had like storage bins for, or like a little dresser thing that you hang, like the shelving that you hang. I knew I had a whole bunch of them in my craft stuff because a lot of them I use for yarn, but I was going to steal one of the wider ones to put in my closet for my summertime pajamas because I have a lot of like short sets. And so I wanted to put those on that like hanging thing instead of, because I have like a little 3-door dresser that's like one of those really nice plasticky ones that has been my dresser until I finally got my nice wooden dresser out of the storage unit. But I want to try to put that one in the craft room because, I mean, I was only using one of the 3 bins for my pajama sets. So I got that taken care of. I did more work in the craft room, pulled some of the rest of the Red Heart yarn. And so I have that all on my Red Heart shelves. But oh my gosh, I have so much yarn. And I do plan on going through at some point and reorganizing what I have. I just am trying right now to fit them into specific bins, just put them into bins and delegate certain storage areas for my yarn. And then once I get all of that figured out, then at some point I will pull the yarn out that isn't like my cotton yarn, because I have another of the hanging things, but this one's like little baskets. And so I have my like small cotton yarn balls in that. And then, like I mentioned, I put all the Red Heart on one of my shelving units in there. So everything else then I want to try to organize either by brand or weight, or if it's like a type of specialty yarn or whatever, but I want to get everything to fit in certain bins in certain storage area. So then when I pull it all out, I'm like, this should all fit back in this thing instead of reorganizing it all as I unpack stuff still. But the craft room looks a lot better. I got a good chunk done. I am going to have to do a little bit of rearranging because I started kind of putting things away in my cube storage in there. And now I have my filing cabinet in there. So I think I'm going to pull some of the craft magazines that I have and put them in the filing cabinet, but leave like the full-on books in the cube storage shelving. So I don't know. It's still kind of figuring out where do things go, but I emptied another few boxes and I pulled a couple of boxes from here and got those kind of dealt with for stuff that I knew eventually went in the craft room. So now there's more boxes in the craft room, but they're not over here. And I kept a couple of the nicer boxes that I want to store some of like the Christmas and holiday stuff in. So, you know, it's still a work in progress. And the craft room wasn't even on my list, but I was just like, you know what? I think I want to do a little bit of work on something and finish my audiobook. So I did more work in the craft room and then my bedroom. So I am feeling pretty accomplished for what I have done. I know there is still a lot to do, but I got all of what's done on my checklist except for one item, and that's because that is video related. And guess what? I'm currently doing it. It was film my Tuesday, because I actually put film an opening clip and then film clip 2 because I forgot that I had Monday and Tuesday off. So I just put clip 2 for week 27, and that's okay because this is day 2 and 3 combined. So we're good. But this is the last thing on my to-do list. So that's super exciting. Usually I have 1 or 2 items left that I carry over the week, but usually it's something intentional like uploading a video. So I just have to wait for it to export kind of a situation, but I'm feeling pretty happy. I might try to do some planning for this week on things that I have that, although this week is already almost half over, but I know that Thursday night, once it hits 10 o'clock, we have the drop of Speak Now Taylor's version. So I probably will be up listening to all of that. I don't know if there's any sort of watch parties or something going on with some of the other Swift people I follow, but I am very, very excited, especially for these vault tracks. But yeah, so I don't know how much I'm going to get done this week. And then we have the fanfiction readathon right around the corner. So I'm trying to kind of get buckling down on some things because I'm already kind of feeling a little bit behind in reading. So I'm going to stop blabbering now that it's been almost 10 minutes and let's actually talk about books. So like I mentioned yesterday during one of the reading sprints, I did finally start Sweep of the Heart because book club for this is on Friday. And I finished it yesterday. It got to a point in the day where I was like, I've done everything on my list that was like immediate. Everything else, I either have to do something else or like it was like a part of a step of something. So I was like, I'm going to spend the rest of the night reading. I got in bed about like 8:30 and then I just read the rest of the night and then went to sleep. After I finished this, 5 stars. 5 freaking stars. I do have to say, I was missing a little bit of the humor that we typically see, especially in this series from Alona Andrews, but there were still humorous moments. But this one was very kind of politically as well, but it wasn't anything specifically with Dina or Sean, but it was really good to get a full-length book of Dina and Sean really working together as a couple, as a unit, as innkeepers, and it was so good. But so what happens in this book, basic plot, is Wilmus, who's like kind of the werewolf leader guy at this point, who a lot of werewolves come to for help and assistance or guidance. We've met him before. He's helped Sean, goes missing. And so Dina and Sean are trying to figure out what happened with him. They figure out that he is taken by one of these corrupted ad halls. And I was just like, oh my gosh, we're getting back to this ad hall corruption stuff. What's happening there? And of course, George, the arbitrator, who, side note, we do get the story that he got married to Sophie, and it was really crazy how it went down. But George is married to Sophie now, and I love that. I love that for them. It was just super cool. And then, so George kind of gives them a hint or a guidance a little bit, where if they take on basically this intergalactic bachelor as a host for, as like the bachelor mansion, so to speak, that this person who is the bachelor he's the head of the Dominion, which is kind of like a conglomerate. It's getting really dark outside. Like this storm is just getting darker and thicker, and it's crazy. Like it looks like it's dusk outside, but like sunset isn't for like another 3 hours. That is bonkers how dark this storm is getting. But so this guy, he has the only like portal to this really weird, really hard to live on planet where Wilmus was taken, and they have like an old derelict mining place that they have a portal that still goes to. So in exchange for hosting, being like the place that they can host this bachelor, what do they call it? The something selection. Oh yes, intergalactic spousal selection, that they will then have free use of the Dominion's portal specifically to this planet. So most of this book is like 440 pages, and we don't get done with, to like 400 is when we get done with the whole spousal selection. So most of this focuses on that, with the last like 40 pages being the rescue of Wilmos. I cannot wait to talk about this at book club on Friday, because those last 40 pages, once again, absolutely wrecked me. I didn't know what was going to happen. We have mentions of Klaus. Now we know, we learn in this book, Klaus is an arbitrator. Klaus is her thought to believed missing brother. We do get an idea or more clues, hints on what's potentially going on with their missing parents and their missing inn. And I don't want to spoil anything, but oh my gosh, what we learn. And then Dina does something super crazy. Oh, you know, it was just breaking my heart. And I was just so, It's really, really hard at this point for me to choose a favorite series from Alona Andrews because I love them all and I love them all in such different ways. But this book, it's probably not my favorite in the series, but it is really good. And it was kind of fun, this whole Bachelor thing, and they're really having to use their magic and deal with these 12 different contestants, and they're all different alien species with different requirements of like food, and we see Oro get kitchen assistants for help, and you know, they're able to do a lot of really crazy magic with the inn, just because the inn has had such an influx of visitors over the past couple books. Plus, there's like 300 people that are here for this Bachelor show thing. Plus, we have a connection with Caldania, and that's like kind of a spoilery, but you figure it out pretty quickly, that there's somebody there is related to Caldania, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Plus, we get the moments of Dina and Sean together, and it's just, I just loved it. Plus Tony's back, and George's guy, what was his name? It's not his brother, it's the other guy, because it was George, and then Dina helps him get Sophie, and then Gaston. Plus Cookie, aka Kookie, is back, and it was super fun. We didn't get much with Oro in this one because he was kind of stuck in the kitchen, but I'm okay with that. I just love this series. This was so much fun. Like I said, I can't wait for the discussion Friday night. And those last 40 pages, man, I have no idea when the next book is coming, but I am super excited, and I need to get on these live shows with Alona Andrews now that I am caught up in series. And so, like, I don't have to worry about spoilers anymore. I just need to go through their backlog of live shows and see what information I can get that I don't already have to know about what potentially might be coming next. But, you know, whatever Alona Andrews does next, I will read it. But this was so freaking phenomenal, and this was just so much fun. Like I said, not as high in the humor as some of the other Innkeeper books have. Oh, plus, it's kind of mentioned in the beginning that Gertrude Hunt is growing a new branch so that she'll have a new door to a new world. And instantly I was like, please let it be where Maud and Helen and Arland are. And this is kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but it's mentioned like at the end of the book. But so if you don't want to know this, skip forward. But it is the planet of House Krar, which means there's a portal doorway from Gertrude to where Maud and Helen and Arland are. So they can just visit each other whenever. And it just makes my heart so full and happy that even though Maud's, married to a vampire again and moved off planet, they have an easier way to stay connected to each other and visit each other. And I love it. I love it to pieces. So as for reading challenges, I'm like tearing up just thinking about it. I just love it. So for Gildathon, this works for ongoing series, last published in an ongoing series, which is 10 points instead of the normal 5. For 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I use this for Guns N' Roses, the 2023 World Tour. And that is, the prompt for this one is a character that was or is in the military or weapons on the cover. This works for both, but I specifically wanted to apply it to character was in the military because Sean was, I think he was in the Army. For Read the Season, I applied this to holiday number 1 for the letter I. And then for the Little Cafe Readathon, I use this for Cherry Cream Soda for 2 people on the cover, and I am Team Cherry. So that is one of my own team ones, and this is one of the books that I had specifically for that TBR plans. So there's that. Also, apparently, I don't know why, but I saw today, I think, that Jackie Lau has changed the cover to For Weddings to Fall in Love, which is her new book that's coming out at the end of the month. And there's no longer flowers on the cover. And I specifically had that for flowers on the cover prompt for my team. So, but I know that it's super easy to meet. A lot of historical romances have flowers on the cover, so it'll be easy to meet. But I'm like, great, now I have to, but I was trying to not mood read those specific books anyway, but because a lot of the cover-based prompts are super easy, I'll probably end up reading a book before I read the one I originally had assigned to it, but that's fine. Anyway, I will move on. Then, like I mentioned today, I did listen to it a little bit today or yesterday, but today I had about 2 hours left, so I did finish Love Binds by Cynthia St. Aubin. So this is the 4th book. I thought it was the final book in her Tales from an Alpha Art Gallery. However, when I checked out her website, because I wanted to sign up for her newsletter, which I didn't see that she has a newsletter. There's no link on her website about that, but that's okay. But she has on the homepage, pick up book 1 before book 5 comes out. And I was like, there's a book 5? So I don't know when it'll come out. I was looking at the release dates for the rest of the books in this series, and they seem like they all kind of came out in September or October-ish. So maybe September, October-ish we'll get book 5, but it's called Love Lost. So we'll see. We'll see. There's no blurb or any official thing. It just says coming soon, and it has the cover. But this one, we finally have 5 stars. I was going to be picky and make it 4.5, and I thought, no. This is my favorite of the series so far. Everything else got 4.5 stars. This one deserves a 5. This one deserves a 5. This one we have, at the beginning of the book, we have, I don't know, there might be a minor time jump from the end of the previous book, but Hannah and Mark are mated, and Hannah is in the process of moving in with Mark. She's still kind of feeling some guilt over what happened to Detective Morrison in the 3rd book. Spoiler alert, he's now a vampire. But so there is the basic premise for this book is there's a huge meeting. They had a specific term for it, but it's basically all of the different werewolf and shifter alphas have this big meeting, and it's basically approval if she is now the alpha queen. And it's basically she has to go, she has to kind of play these political games and make sure everybody is on board, and that, they're allowed to vet her basically, and also introduce her to everybody because they live all across the world. And this is set in Ireland. So at some point they do travel to Ireland. We get a lot of our returning cast. We have Alan pops back up. I love Alan. We don't see Steve and Shayla quite as much. I think it's Shayla because they just had babies, which they were pregnant in the previous book but we found out they were twins. And so they have twins. So we actually get a couple of scenes of Hannah and Mark babysitting them. And it's so cute. I love it. And Hannah's really struggling, especially at the beginning of the book, because she shifted when they first made it at the end of the previous book. But since then, she hasn't been able to shift into her wolf. And so that's kind of on top of all of her normal social anxiety she has about the situation of going to this huge meeting. She also hasn't been able to shift, and she hasn't been able to, she hasn't gotten pregnant, and they've been certainly trying, because that's a part of like the mating thing. And then we have the pop-up of a new character whose name is Hayden, and he is a dragon shifter. I was like, she's had a dragon shifter in her back pocket the entire time. And he's nerdy, and he's like best friends with Steve, and they met over a like RPG, Dragon RPG video game. And I was just like, this one also didn't have quite as much humor as the previous books, but it still was there. It didn't feel as heavy on it, because I feel like overall we were kind of dealing more with Hannah's anxiety now that she actually knows what's kind of going on. And she was kind of more warned in advance. So there was more of her stressing out about these different situations, but there was still more than enough humor for me in this one. I did cry a little bit at the end, and I was pretty sad about a couple of characters. And we also have another big plot point in this book is Detective Morrison is technically a Strigoi, which means he's like a mindless vampire, which is common, I feel like, vampire mythology. And the way for him to kind of regain his mind, as they say, he's a Strigoi, because when you become a vampire and you become immortal in that way, you're the goal is to let go of all humanity. And that includes pain. And the Strigoi are created when they die if they are suffering heartbreak, and it is them, they become a Strigoi because they're unable to let go of that human pain. And so the way to become not a Strigoi is to kill whoever caused that heartbreak on you. So we have Detective Morrison, who's not a detective anymore, Strigoi Morrison, escaping and coming after Hannah. And part of her is like guilty, and so she wants to let him kill her so he can like regain his mind and become a normal vampire type of situation. It was just, and there's a scene at the end where I died. It was so funny. And it was great. It was great. So if you've read this book and want to talk to me about it, because I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, but I really enjoyed this. I can't wait to see what the next book has. I don't know if the next book is going to be wrapping up the series or kind of what Cynthia's plans are for this, but I'm excited. I'm excited for more. And I don't know what audiobook I'm going to pick up now that I have this one all caught up on. So let's talk about challenges, and then I will move on. So for Gildathon, this also worked for latest book in an ongoing series. For Ripped Bodice Summer Bingo, I am applying this to a choreographed dance, because there is a point where there's like a big first dance with all the alphas, so she has to learn like all of their traditional dances, and she's supposed to dance with them first at the big party before her coronation as Alpha Queen. So she does have to learn this, and then that is kind of a portion of the story, is her going through this dance, and like this is like her first real meeting with a bunch of the other alphas. For 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I applied this to Elton John, Elton's farewell tour. One of the options for this is a flamboyant or colorful character, and they actually call Alan flamboyant in this, which totally fits. I love Alan. He is the gay werewolf tailor, and he's been a tailor since, I think they said he like dressed Queen Elizabeth I or something like that. So he's been in Britain doing like beau monde wearing type clothing and stuff like that. And he's one of my favorite characters of the series for sure. Then for Read the Season, I applied this to holiday number 2 for the letter A. And then for the Little Cafe Readathon, I applied this to Team Mango's prompt, Mango Sorbet, which is orange font on the cover. And her name is in orange. So those are the 2 books that I have read the past 2 days. For the rest of the night, I don't think I'm going to pick any other audiobooks up tonight. But, oh, hey, look, it's actually raining now, but I feel like the storm is mostly past us, but okay. I'm going to pick up Down to a Science by Haley Cass. This is one of the ones that I had on my TBR for, I think this counts for almost all of the things I have going on. Ripped Bodice, Summer Romance Challenge, Little Cafe Readathon, and I even think Feels Like Summer. So I decided to go with this one because it'll cover a whole bunch of prompts. It's less than 200 pages, so I should be able to read through, if not all of it, most of it tonight. So I do plan on picking this up. Plus, it's also a sapphic romance, so that'll work for my current Romanceopoly card. So then I can kind of use Romanceopoly to guide where I go next. So I was like, I'm going to do that one because it hits all of my like reading challenges that I have currently going. So I'm going to pick this up, new author, my first full sapphic romance. So I'm intrigued to see how it goes. And it's a new release. Like I mentioned, it came out actually June of this year. It is a part of the I Heart Sapphic, I think it's I Heart Sapphic Romance, I Heart Sapphic Pride collection. So it's a series with multi-authors, and it's SAPPHFIC, which is a cute little take on it. So let's do the quest calendar. We have 2 days to get through, and then I will stop blabbering at you because I feel like I've been talking a lot and it's been half an hour. I made a blended coffee. I threw in a couple ice cubes and a little bit of creamer, and then I just pulsed it. So hopefully, I was like, hopefully it'll stay cold a little bit longer. All right. So I last left you on Sunday, and we found the giant creature thing that was coming towards the planet. So we did get a bonus. It was a plus 20 bonus, so I'm guessing that we're going to do battle with it today. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, look, there's that creepy mouth. That is super creepy. The planet eater's behavior changes. It unfurls its appendages and begins to pursue you. Its tentacles reach out while its teeth start grinding in circular motion. Okay, so we're going to have 4 rounds of battle with this thing. So, but like I mentioned, we do get a plus 20 bonus from yesterday. So our normal attack, or our normal aim, because this is ship combat, is 20. So we have a plus 40, which is awesome, to our percentile roll. So round 1. Okay. So that is 83. So we are 123. It's really raining. All right, so round 1. If your roll is 70 or more, your shot hits and you take no damage. Perfect. So on to round number 2. That is 51, so 91. If your aim roll is 65 or more, your shot hits and you take no damage. Perfect. On to round number 3. That is 55, so 95 total. And this one, if your aim roll is 55 or more, crazy. So your shot hits and you take no damage. And then on to round number 4, our final round. 99. Weird that we got like doubles the last 2 rolls. So that's if your aim roll is 75 or more. We are over on the die, so we are good. So if your shot successfully hit for 3 rounds, you defeated the Glutanic for now. It stops its pursuit. Okay. The planet-eating Glutanic continues its path towards Athelia. So collect 1 credit for each round your shot hits, so we get 4 credits, and then collect 2 additional credits if you defeat it. So we get 6 total credits from this. Perfect. So there's that. We managed to defeat it for now. So let's see what today's brings. Okay, so it looks like maybe some sort of security meeting or something like that. So you meet with the Security Council as everyone discusses what to do about the approaching creature. Fear and anxiety are abundant among the crowd. So 1 is hear the council's concerns and discussions, and then 2 is vote for a focus of the battle plan. 2A is shield the planet, 2B is evacuate the planet, 2C is boost the fleet. So let's do the first part first before we make a decision. Okay, hear the council's concerns and discussion. Fear and anxiety grips everyone as the council room erupts in chaos and everyone shouts over the others wait to be heard. We need to mount an attack against the beast and stop it before it gets here. It won't stand a chance against our full fleet if we work together. Somebody else says, we've been working on technology to shield the planet in a force field. If we focus on finishing this, the abomination will never make it through. A third person says, we can't risk sitting here letting this thing eat us and our families. We need to get everyone away while we still have a chance. Save as many people as possible. A voice among the crowd manages to silence everyone and speak with reason. All the plans before us have merit. However, we will not overcome this threat if we are narrow-minded and approach this problem with only one objective. We may not be able to stop this creature, even if we had every vessel in the galaxy. We stand the best chance of saving lives by evacuating the planet, but our defensive shield could slow the creature down enough to help us evacuate more. If it stops the creature entirely, then it will likely move on to consume another planet. Then our fleet will still be needed. So, vote for the focus of the battle plan. Due to the versatility of the Karnak's crew and capabilities of the ship, you will have a chance to help with all legs of the plan. But you need to pick a focus for what the crew of the Karnak will primarily take part in. Okay, so it's not that we're just doing one plan. It's that we will be primarily assisting in one portion of the plan. Okay, I like that. Because I was like, oh, I like this person who's like, we can focus on everything. All of this is important. So, I think I would either do 2A or 2B. So helping and shielding the planet or evacuating the planet. I'm leaning towards shielding the planet because the longer we can help do a shield, the more time that gives people to evacuate. So I'm leaning towards shield the planet. So I'm going to go with option A. So note down shield the planet somewhere for future use. Okay, so that's it. That's our quest calendar for the past 2 days. We're all caught up once again. So I'm going to get things wrapped up here. And I'm probably going to take an early shower. I'm all sweaty and gross from working in the craft room and cleaning up stuff around the house. So I definitely want to take a shower because I'm all sweaty and gross. I hate feeling like that. But then I'm going to spend the rest of the night just kind of relaxing and reading, and we'll see if I can finish down to a science or if I end up picking up something else. So hopefully I will see you tomorrow on Wednesday, and I hope if you are doing anything for 4th of July or even just relaxing at home, I hope you have enjoyed the time off and have made good use of it, whether that's use of just binging a bunch of books and doing nothing, or like taking care of things that you've been wanting to do around the house, like myself. So I will hopefully see you tomorrow. Hello, happy Wednesday. It is almost 11 o'clock, but things have been happening. I said yesterday I was gonna read and just spend the rest of the night relaxing. We had a crazy thunderstorm from when I feel like when I was filming my clip yesterday, it started, and it lasted till like 8:30ish, if not later last night. It was bonkers. The north end of my parking lot was flooding. It was crazy, and it was heavy rain, thunder and lightning. I guess they ended up doing fireworks at like 9:30 or something like that, but I ended up not going or doing any of that stuff. So everything is fine on that end. And then today it was like super overcast and cloudy. It was only like in the 60s, and there was a point where it was like raining, but with the cold wind that was coming through, it wasn't like frozen, but it was like really cold, and almost it looked a little bit frozen, like it looked like an early winter snowstorm. But it wasn't quite snow, it was still just rain. But it was really nice. And I could live in a day with a day like this every day. I mean, I like seasons, but I definitely prefer the cooler weather. And it seems like this cold front that hit us is going to keep things kind of low. We're supposed to get back up into the 80s, I feel like, next week, but I don't see anything in the forecast as far as from when I looked like midday today of hitting back in the 90s, which would just be so amazing. But let's talk about other things. So let's do the quest calendar first. So we were at the council meeting thingy to figure out what to do with that big like alien planet eater dude. So, okay. All right, I'm guessing these are evacuation ships. So, every passenger ship is ordered to fill to the brim beyond capacity and escort as many citizens as possible off-world to the nearest planet outside the Phobos system. With the Karnak's Void Spark engine, you can make this trip a couple of times before moving on to the other parts of the battle plan. Perfect. So 1 is organize the passengers as they board the ship. 2 is keep the passengers calm and collected while on board. 3, navigate through the chaos of airspace. And 4, collect a reward. I mean, do we really need to collect a reward for saving people's lives? Okay. With the aid of Karnak's Void Spark engine, you can make the trip more than once. Repeat steps 1 through 4 2 times. If you have evacuate the planet, we do not. We chose bolstering the shields. So we are going to go through everything twice. So 1, organize the passengers as they board the ship. With a more organized boarding process, you can fit more passengers on the ship and you can leave quicker. So this is strength reminder intimidating. Okay. So our strength is a -1, and I am pretty sure we do not have intimidating. No, so we're at a -1. Not helpful. And that's a 2. I'm gonna use our reroll for the page, and hopefully nothing is quite as horrendous as that. So I'm using our reroll. That is the time step ability with our character. So that is a 14, so we are at 13. So we just kind of have to take it. We have no more chances for a reroll. So if the result is between 8 and 14, the boarding process could have been better. Gain a +1 bonus when collecting your reward for this trip. So number 4 below, okay? 2, keep passengers calm and collected while on board. The citizens are scared and anxious about having to leave home. Keeping them comfortable and lighthearted will help make a smoother trip for everyone. So this is charisma, reminder, animal tamer. So our charisma is a +1. And we do have animal tamer, so we get a +3. And this is a 15, so 18 total. If the result is 15 or more, the passengers were as calm collected as you could hope. Gain a +2 bonus when collecting your reward for this trip. 3, navigate through the chaos of airspace. So with so many ships leaving the planet at once, the traffic is dangerous if not navigated through carefully. So piloting skill with a dexterity roll. Did we get piloting? No, we got engineering. So, but our dexterity is a +4, so that's fine. And that is an 18, so 22. I'll move things slightly here. Okay, so if the result is 15 or more, you helped organize the ship so others could follow behind in your path. Gain a +2 bonus when collecting your reward for this trip. So, for collect a reward, you have saved several citizens. They thank you with a monetary reward as well as other tokens of appreciation. So we get a total of +5 for this trip. And that is a 19, so 24. So if the result is 16 or more, collect 6 credits. So we can do this one more time, and that is it. So once again, organizing the passengers is at a -1. And that is an 18, much better that time. So 17 total. So the boarding process was smooth. Gain a +2 bonus when collecting your reward. Okay. And then number 2, keep the passengers calm and collected. That is a 14. So we get, this one was the charisma roll, so this one is a +3, so 17 total. So also gaining a +2 bonus on that one as well. And then our final one, that is a 7. This is our dexterity roll, so that makes it 11. So this one is a different result because if we are between 8 and 14, you got through the other ships without issue. Gain a +1 bonus when collecting your reward. So once again, a 2, 2, and a 1. So +5 for collecting our reward. That is a 12, so 17. So we get another 6 credits. Perfect. So there's that for today. I will get our 12 credits added. The other thing I did want to mention is a couple days ago, there was a thing, check out the quest calendar. It was announced, but I missed the email. So I did not get early bird pricing, but I have backed it and I took a couple pictures. So the 2024, if you are interested, I will have the Kickstarter link down below. It is going through July 22nd, I believe. But they'll have extra copies and I'm sure you can do post backing. But so the theme is Leaf Riders of Wrenwood. And like this is one of the pre-made characters. They're all like weasels or ferrets or that type of thing. And the lighting just got super weird because of it. But I will be doing the same like deluxe option that's not too much. So it's $43. So their pricing definitely has gone up. But this is the one that offers the companion book with the markers. It comes with a free PDF option, your desktop calendar. The dice for this one is a mini set of amber dice. And then it looks like there's a new mechanic where you're going to have to pull playing cards to get things figured out. And so it'll be a set of playing cards specifically for the game, but otherwise just cool playing cards with the mechanic. And I am debating picking up the dice tray. It's similar to the one that I have here, the faux fur snap them together, but it has the map of the place on the inside. And I think that's just a cool, like artwork, instead of, because mine is just black with gray on the inside, which I like gray. Gray is my favorite color. But I thought that one would be a fun, different take to have like a map on the inside of it. But we will see. I didn't do my add-on in my Kickstarter, so if I'm assuming they'll go with backer kit again for doing rewards and all that. So we'll see how I'm feeling and what my budget is looking at once the backer kit surveys and everything opens up. But I might get the dice tray. But I don't need to do the full deluxe with the leather light dice bag and the other dice bag. I don't really need all the extra stuff, as cool as it is. They have enamel pins this year as well. I just want to stick with the basics, but I definitely recommend if you're going to do it not PDF style, they do have a digital option as well this year, getting the Hero Companion book, because it really does help things. Although I have seen that they're working on a companion app, but I think basic, depending on what tier you back, you'll have like basic access to the app, or like full access to the app. So I don't really know 100% what's going on there. I did download the app on Android because they offered it for free for this year, just for people to kind of test out and give their thoughts on. But when it came out, I downloaded it on my phone, which is what I mainly film on. And the iOS version wasn't up. I haven't gone back to see if it is, but at this point I'm still using my Hero Companion book. So, but that is also another option I think that they have going around. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's talk about books. So let's talk about a book I finished first. So like I mentioned, I was like, I'm gonna read my ebook and relax and take a shower and all that stuff. Well, I ended up looking at what kind of I needed to do, some prep work I wanted to get done for some of the other videos I have going on the rest of the month, like mid-year freakout, and I want to do my Q2 half-year digital journal flip through and things like that. But I had a couple things left to finish on my July spread. I needed to finish updating my statistics for July, or for June, in my digital journal. And then I needed to update all my yearly stuff that's at the beginning of the journal. I try to do that at the beginning or at the end of every month when I total those out, but I hadn't done June's yet. And then I hadn't updated my Romanceopoly or my Gildathon sections. Romanceopoly wasn't as bad. I hadn't updated that one since April, but I hadn't updated my Gildathon one since like February. So I got everything else taken care of last night, and then tonight when I got home, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna knock Gildathon out. So I have my digital journal almost completely updated outside of July's stats. So I do want to go through and get the books that I've read in July in my books read section, but that one's super easy. I got my template all set up, so that's just plugging in information and covers. So that's what I was working on tonight, was finishing that up. So while I was doing that, I decided to pick up an audiobook instead of doing podcast or something else. I was like, no, let's do an audiobook. Let's still get some reading done. So I had asked earlier in the day, in the Buzzing About Romance Discord, I was like, I want to start Codename Genesis by Sawyer Bennett, but Hoopla had it both in ebook and audiobook, and so I just kind of was like, hey, has anybody read this in audio? Would you recommend it in audio over ebook? And Becky, who's the creator of Buzzing About Romance and who is a big Sawyer Bennett fan, was like, it has Shanice. And I was like, I know he's a popular audiobook narrator, but I think this is the first audiobook that I've read from him. And so I started that yesterday and I finished it today. So I got through like 40-ish% yesterday. I tried to listen to it a little bit at work today and I only got to like 44%. But then I finished it when I got home when I was working on the Gildathon portion of my digital journal. So I have finished it. I'm going to give it 4 stars. It was good. There were a couple little nitpicks that I had with it. So this is the first book in her Jameson Security Force, or Jameson Force Security, something like that series. There's also a mention that there's like somebody that's getting hired for the security force, that he has 2 older brothers who are hockey. It's mentioned that he has 2 older brothers who are hockey players for like the Carolina Fury or something like that, which I know is another one of her other series. So that's kind of cool that there's a connection there, even though this is my first Sawyer Bennett book. I've had her hockey series on my TBR for a while, but I'm just so picky with hockey, I haven't picked him up. But this one is a second chance romance. Our characters are in their 30s, which is fun. And this is Kynan and Jocelyn, and they kind of had a like quick but deep relationship when Jocelyn was 19. He's a couple years older than her, so he was like mid-ish 20s. Maybe not that much, but she was in Vegas hoping to become a singer, and her mother was her manager at that point, and then her mother hired a like private investigator to look into Keenan. I think it's Keenan. It's Kynan. And yes, I listened to an audiobook the past 2 days and already I've forgotten how to say his name. Kynan? It might be Kynan. But anyway, so he was hired as a bodyguard. So he spent a lot of like one-on-one time with Jocelyn. And so their relationship, I mean, they spent practically all day together. It's kind of like how I feel like with Bachelor in Paradise, where yeah, they're only together for 2 weeks, but they're around each other like 24/7. So you almost spend more time together than had you been like on a normal dating path situation. And so it was very deep, very serious. And then she gets pictures of him hugging a person with some texts and emails, and like, he was cheating on me. So she just like cuts him off and just breaks up with him, says it's over, doesn't tell him why, and just cuts it all off. He has since, created Jameson Security Force, and Jocelyn went on to become a successful singer and actress, but she's a pop star first, but she has been doing acting, and she's been having issues with a stalker, and it's kind of gotten progressively worse. I guess mention it's very something small. It's just kind of glossed over, but there is mention of her stalker leaving her a killed, desecrated cat carcass and hanging it on her like security fence. And just that one little mention just hurt my heart because I am a cat person. So it's not much, but just be warned, that is in there. So he has been stalking her and leaving things, and both flowers, like flower type gifts and dead animal type gifts. And then her last kind of big straw was he broke into the house and was choking her out when the cops showed up, and he ran away. And so she was like, screw the other people. I'm going to someone that I can trust and who I know will have my well-being, like, will take care of things. So she contracts with him. Part of the reason why I dropped this is I didn't like his attitude towards her. I get he was hurt. But you know, he also forgot he was dealing with a 19-year-old girl. And yeah, he was also young, but he was in the military. He's British, and so he was like in the British military. And so I feel like that ages you quicker. And she was just a 19-year-old girl who wanted to be a pop star. So she definitely had a different view on life. But when he meets her, it's during like what he's like, yeah, you can bring her to her house, even though like his house, for safety, after she like kind of forces them to allow she kind of forces them to take her contract on, because she just shows up. So he doesn't really have a chance to say no. So then he's like, she can stay at my house until we figure out a plan and go from there, because it's like late at night, right after she was able to get out of the hospital. And then she just kind of booked it. So she shows up and he's got his one night stand there. And apparently he met her at some sort of BDSM club type situation. And I just really didn't like the way he treated her. He definitely did not act like a in his mid-30s man. You know, and I can get it if he wants to rub it in her face, but this isn't just a second chance. This is a second chance with her coming off of a potentially deadly situation. I mean, she has bruises on her neck still when she shows up at his house from this guy trying to choke her out. And she's terrified and she's scared and she's coming to him for protection and for safety because she trusts him and she trusts his company. And so I really didn't like the way that he was unprofessional in that situation. Like, I would have more preferred him to just be like overly professional with her instead of like trying to, I don't know, take back his hurt or whatever the situation was kind of going on there. So that bothered me. And it was fine. I feel like I've read better romantic suspense. I wasn't 100% sure. I mean, it is romantic suspense, so this is a spoiler, but this happens in like almost all romantic suspenses. It's kind of assumed by the name. She does get kidnapped by the stalker, needs to be rescued. I thought that situation went on a little longer than I would have preferred. And I know he got his comeuppance, but I kind of wanted, like, my mafia murder side definitely wanted them to take more vengeance on him and not leave it up as much to the justice system. But we're reading romantic suspense, not mafia. So I feel like my enjoyment of mafia has certainly made me more bloodthirsty, especially when it comes to like bad guys in like the suspensey thriller mystery type situations in romance now. So yeah, but 4 stars. I mean, I enjoyed it. There was, I don't know if it was the narrators, but sometimes the way it would switch POVs at times was funky, or I don't know, something just felt off to me at times. I also, there was a couple times, I don't know if the female narrator is Canadian, but there are a couple of times when she would say a word when she was in, like, talking as Jocelyn. It sounded Canadian. Like, I'm pretty sure at one point she said sorry, and I was like, and then it was tomorrow, or she said tomorrow really weird, and I was like, where is this sudden Canadian accent coming from? And so that was a little off. Like, it drug me out of the story. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm definitely interested to read more from Sawyer Bennett. I might look at the blurbs. I definitely would want to read more in this series. I don't know if I will jump into one of her other series first before continuing this one. Maybe try some of her hockey romances first, but So far, a good start to Sawyer Bennett. As for what reading challenges I use this for Guildathon, I use this for musical troupe, which is read a book that has travel in it. For the summer reading challenge, I applied this to read a book with an author who's been featured during a happy hour. For the 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I use this for Muse, and their tour is Will of the People Tour 2023. And one of the options for this is part of a large series, which they're counting as 5 or more books, and this series has 10 books. For Read the Season, I applied this to Summer for the letter J for the series name, so I only have 1 book left to read to finish Summer, which then would hit me at level 1 for Read the Season, which is great. And then for the Little Cafe Readathon, this works for Cherry Goat Cheese, and that option is a title that starts with the letter C, so I've officially finished 1 drink and 1 food order for Team Cherry, so I have officially completed 1 of my 3 orders if I aim to read all of them, but I have at least met the minimum of what you have to do to successfully participate in the readathon. So nice start so far to that. Then as for, I was trying to find my Kindle here. I did actually also start Down to a Science, and then I was able to read a little bit of it this morning because I ran to the vet this morning like I was mentioning I had to do. So I was there at like 7:30, just after 7:30 when they opened to get Jesus medicine, and then I came home and I had a little bit of time before I had to go to work. So, hi! She just went potty. And so I read a little bit more of that. So I'm at 58%. According to my Kindle, I have about an hour left in it. So I'll try to finish it tonight. I'll probably just go to bed and read the rest of the night. That puts me up staying a little bit late, but at least I'll be reading in bed. So I won't feel like as tired as compared to like up and doing things. But I'm not sure about this book. I am enjoying, so here's my thing. I am enjoying the connection between Ellie and Mia. This is a sapphic romance, like I mentioned. I think their connection is like super, super sweet. They're pretty much best friends. Mia is out. She definitely dates women. There isn't been any firm what she qualifies or quantifies her sexuality as in the different options in queerdom. Ellie, I don't know. It's hard to tell with Ellie. And that's where my little bit of a nitpick is coming, is with Ellie. Because there's definitely, I don't know if she's like in the very beginning, she says she's straight. And she meets Mia at the bar. They're coming in. They meet the first time Mia comes in, and then she goes to hang out with her friends, and then eventually they kind of form this friendship. Ellie definitely, I feel like, is on a spectrum of some type. She is very science-minded. She has, social anxieties, not good with people at all, is very insular to herself. She kind of struggles at times recognizing her own emotions, recognizing, body clues, social clues, reading the room type of situation. And she's very, very science-minded. She's working on her PhD when we meet at the beginning of the book. This book is also split up into parts. I'm at the beginning of part 4, and there's a little bit of a time jump. The time jumps feel natural, because there's just a lot of, they hang out a couple times a week and they're just hanging out at the bar, or they're doing friend things and they're going out to see movies, and they're just kind of strengthening their friendship. And so they've been best friends for like 2 years, I think is what it said, where I'm at in the book right now. So it's definitely a slower kind of build situation. But like I mentioned, I'm not sure with Ellie because she says she's straight. Obviously, we all know, like coming in, that she will be with Mia. And to her, it feels like she's like, there's straight, bi, and there's gay. And I feel, and so she's like coming to terms and coming to realization in herself that she might be gay. And there's a lot of introspective work that she does. I mean, she's so nerdy. She like takes out a whiteboard and she's like contemplating herself and her likes and dislikes and different people that she's dated, both men and then women that she has come to realize that she is now crushing, and it wasn't just she was upset that their friendships were over. And so she's calling herself gay, which is fine. I mean, I don't want to tell anybody what their sexuality is, but to me, it definitely doesn't feel like she's gay. She feels more demi to me. And here's my kind of thought process behind that is she talks about the like 3 men that she's dated. One of them she was set up with on her sister, didn't really know him, didn't really get along with them, wasn't really interested. There was somebody that she dated like from her class in college, and they were together for a couple weeks. He ended up being super rude, telling her she was a stuck-up know-it-all kind of situation. And then there was another person that she dated, and it might have been her first time person, but it wasn't like a big situation. But when she talks about the people that, you know, she thinks that she might have been in love with previously, they were both women. However, one was like her childhood best friend. She knew her forever. And then she kind of, as she's going through like her whiteboard and figuring out, you know, her own sexuality, she's thinking, maybe I was so upset with her, not because she didn't have time for me anymore as a friend when she started dating boys in high school, but because I was jealous and I wanted to date her. And then the other woman that she really kind of focuses on is a former TA of hers, and how they really kind of connected over similar studies. It was one of the TAs in one of her like big passion science classes, and so there was a lot of similarity there, and they were able to connect on the science related stuff and really kind of share passions in that way. So that is kind of why I feel like she's more demi than like straight lesbian, is because I feel like she, oh my goodness, she just went potty again and she has to announce to the world. But it seems like the 2 people that she's fallen in love with, yes, they are women, but they are people who she had like a relationship prior to feeling some sort of sexual attraction, crushing, whatever kind of situation in. So to me, that feels more demi. And this was written like, or at least it was released last month, June of 2022. So I was a little like, the only LGBTQ plus that's talked about is, you know, bi or gay. And I'm like, there's a lot more to the whole thing. Like, that's why we keep adding letters, you know? And so, I don't know. I just, it just feels slightly icky to me because it almost feels gay for you, which I'm not a fan of. But I feel like even if it was, the author is kind of giving some trying to give some precedence of Ellie, like re-evaluating her emotions and, you know, her experiences with both genders. I mean, there's not really talk about anything trans or non-binary or anything so far. But yes, hello. Did you forget I was out here even though I'm literally talking out loud? My goodness. She just has to make sure we all know that she went potty. Are you done? Okay. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that. But outside of that whole thing, whatever they're choosing to label themselves as, I'm really enjoying the friendship building. This is definitely friends to lovers. Where I'm at, Ellie kind of finally got the big push herself to kiss Mia for the first time, and she was really struggling on like officially coming out to Mia. It's during a pride party after a parade type situation. Mia is a firefighter, and she was new to town when she transferred. I think they're in like Boston area, and she was coming from California, and so she was like new to town at the very beginning of the book. But now it's been a couple years later, they're good friends. And Ellie was kind of super nervous, and Mia thought she was super drunk at this party, and she's just like, no, I'm just nervous. And it was just like a cute kind of little scene, and Ellie was really struggling on like trying to say the words. She was kind of dancing around it and using a metaphor. And she just went for a kiss, and, you know, she's feeling sparks fly. You know, because, you know, Sparks Fly, Taylor's version drops tomorrow. Well, technically Friday. For me, it's 10 p.m. tomorrow. But I just, it was so sweet. And then Mia's just like, oh, you're drunk. And she kind of pushes her back. And Ellie is feeling super rejected, especially because she specifically hasn't had anything to drink. Because she wanted to remember the situation, because, you know, her twin sister had been like, I think Mia likes you, and Mia adores you. She's feeling like they're having like extra moments that are a little more touchy-feely, a little more than just kind of friends situation. And now she's kind of being rejected. And I actually, I cried a couple tears. It wasn't a lot, but I definitely got a little teary-eyed with a drop or two. So, you know, outside of my frustration with Ellie's actual like labeling of herself, and just the way that the author is choosing to explain her coming to acknowledging what her sexuality is, I'm enjoying Mia and Ellie's relationship outside of everything else. So right now it's probably setting at like a 4-star, because I don't know why. It's just, this is why I struggle sometimes with LGBTQ, and maybe I'm too harsh on it. I mean, I don't really consider myself, I'm an ally. I will say that. But sometimes things just feel like, I don't know, pandering, or it doesn't make sense at times, but I don't know. I feel like because this is like a current romance, it's less than a month old. I do wish that there was a little more just mention or talk that there is more than just like those 3 sections. Like, you're either straight, you're either bi, or you're gay. Like, it's like a line and there's the 3 dots, when it's not. not as we have come to understand it in today's world. And being that this is written in today's time, it was published in the last month, I do wish that there was a little more acknowledgement that it is more now. And maybe I'm just super picky with it too, because I have family members and friends who are in the more section of the LGBTQ plus and not in the 3 holes, if that makes sense. So, or the 3 slots, points on the line. I don't know what we're calling it. I don't know all the terminology. I'm an ally. I'll just leave it at that. And I'm enjoying the story between Ellie and Mia, which is the primary point of this story. I just wish if we had to see her kind of go through this, that it felt like it made more sense. And I feel like the author is trying to make it make sense, but there's some obvious points. I feel like something that would have made me feel a little bit better about the situation is if she had dated someone who wasn't a horrible man. It was someone that she had a really good connection with. They shared passions. They had a lot of similarities, commonalities. They enjoyed a lot of things. They were together for more than 2 weeks, but she just wasn't turned on it by him at all. She just wasn't interested at all in him sexually. I feel like I would have handled her realization better, outside of the fact that, like, she dated 3 men who didn't really care for her as a person, let alone as a woman in her potential, like, girlfriend situation. So give me any woman who just hasn't found a decent man to treat her as just a basic human being, let alone someone important to you as a partner. And not, like, I feel like if one of those boyfriends had just been slightly different and, like, I had a really good relationship with him, it just wasn't romantic. It ended up not being romantic. I feel like then I'd feel a little bit better about the whole situation. But that's not what happened. So I'm going to stop blabbering at you because this is another super long clip. I just can't help myself. So I'm going to stop blabbering, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow, at the very least, in 2 days on Friday. So we shall see. Hello. Happy Thursday. It is just before 9 o'clock, 10 p.m. like I have mentioned, my time. Speak Now drops. So I wanted to film this and then take a shower and then kind of do all of my pre-bedtime situation things so that when it hits 10 p.m. I can just listen to Speak Now Taylor's version. I cannot wait. So I want to talk about books. However, I need to get a little bit ranty. I got a little bit ranty on my Instagram, which I typically don't. But I have mentioned how excited I have been for a book club that it was supposed to be yesterday. Or no, it was supposed to be tomorrow at 6 o'clock my time. Well, I get done with a reading sprint and I'm just like, oh, I'll pop onto Instagram. I haven't looked at it all day, see what, the people that I usually check are reading. And I happened to see a story that somebody posted. Can't wait for book club tonight. So first of all, I'm like angry at YouTube because I have signed up to get live show and just new video notifications for the person that hosts them. didn't get a notification. I know for sure I signed up for notification reminder, whatever, when that specific live show was supposed to go live. Didn't get a notification for that. So, and you know, it wasn't really advertised. I only happened to see that the live show was moved from the end of June to the first weekend of July because I wanted to go on and make sure that I got the notification. And that's how I found out it was in July. Never mind the fact that, you know, there was a emergency, quick turnaround, extra meeting mid to late June for a new release that came out by the same author we're doing a read along for. And I never saw any posts on Instagram, on YouTube, no notifications that it had been scheduled. I knew it was going to happen at some point. I never saw any announcement. I never got any ping on any service that it was coming. So now I have missed the last 2 live shows. And I had a lot I really wanted to talk about tomorrow. And I'm really kind of bummed out and frustrated that, one, that YouTube sucks and I didn't get my notifications that I have specifically signed up for. And 2, that they haven't done a better job at announcing the changes. Alexa, dismiss. I'm kind of bummed about it. And I know I can go back and watch the live shows after the fact, but my enjoyment of doing book clubs and doing these live shows is like having the interaction and the actual like speaking. Okay, my speaker box really wants to notify me that my reminder is going off here. I even have my phone on silence, but it's still pinging, so I don't know. I'm really frustrated. And I know I could go back and watch the live shows, but let's be honest. There's a really high chance I won't, because my enjoyment is watching them and interacting live and being able to throw my thoughts out there and have people agree or disagree. It's the discussion of it all that I enjoy. And I was so looking forward to tomorrow's. I was like, perfect. And I know one of the hosts is also another Taylor Swift fan. Okay, I will be right back. Hello. My phone was on silent, but my Amazon lady just really wanted to notify me, and for some reason decided she wasn't gonna follow my silence for notifications. Never mind the fact that it's also set on like nighttime mode, so like my screen dims, everything is supposed to like kind of do like the preemptive do not disturb thing at 9 o'clock, and I saw my phone do that, but apparently little Miss A over there just is gonna bypass all of that. But anyways, one of the other hosts is also a Swiftie. So I was gonna be like, because usually there's tangents that happen at the very beginning or at the very end, and where we could just like hang out and discuss whatever. So I really wanted to be like, oh my god, what did you think of Speak Now? So I'm really disappointed. And I mean, it just sucks that, you know, I signed up for all the notifications and they didn't pop. And I mean, it was just a story that I saw that after the fact that was just like book club tonight. And I don't know. It was just really, I'm just really kind of disappointed in that. And I know that things happen and schedules have to change, but I don't know. I feel like it's a fairly small book club. There's not very many people that are participating in it, which also makes I feel like the discussions a little more easier to like be seen what you're saying when you're in the chat. And so I almost wish that, you know, we had a Discord or like an Instagram group or something where we could all join, and then, oh, hey, there could be like a central, hey, here's things changing, because I don't get on Instagram as often as I don't. I've kind of really pulled back from just sitting on Instagram. I pretty much just check Instagram when I get on there to post something in my stories, like a new video or something like that. I just don't. Or if I know that if I get a like newsletter from an author that like a cover or a book release date or something has been announced by a favorite author, I will then go on to Instagram and like their posts and share them to my stories and stuff like that. So I'm not as active on Instagram as much lately. And I know that there's people who don't use any social media. So I just wish that some of these book clubs, especially for ones that have been going on for a while, that there was just a little bit more better communication. And I know it's not all on them, but also I can't be someone who checks, you know, scheduled live shows every single day to make sure that the live show is when it was originally posted is going to be. That's just too much, you know, there's just too much else going on. So that's really disappointing for me, and I'm pretty bummed out about it. Never mind, I think I'm getting another sty, as you could probably tell from my swollen eyelid. It has been so sore today, and I'm just like, I'm so over it. Thank goodness tomorrow is Friday. I'm already ready for the weekend. It's just been so stressful. And then this morning I woke up at 9:10 and I have to be at work at 9. I got to work at 9:30. But I don't usually sleep past 8 o'clock, even on the weekends. Even when I stay up super late, my little kitty won't let me sleep past 8:30. So when my alarm went off at 6:30 this morning, I was like, yeah, I'll sleep in. And apparently my body was like, okay, we're sleeping in. So, you know, it just has been like a frazzled, hectic day. Because even though it was fine, and, you know, I thankfully work at a place where my boss is just like, okay. And I mean, I texted her. First thing I did when I saw the time is I texted her. I was like, oh my God, crap, I just woke up. I'll be in ASAP. Thank goodness I live 3 minutes away from work now as well. But I just kind of felt on edge all day because I hate being late. And, you know, it's just that starting your morning just rushing through things, I get in a mindset and I just can't really, it's hard to like kick that. So I still just feel kind of just frazzled from this morning. But after I film this clip, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to get ready for bed. And I'm going to prepare myself for the Speak Now. I saw a lot of people were listening to the old versions today. And I have been listening to it more pretty much since the Bejeweled music video came out. I have had a heavier rotation of Speak Now songs in my normal playlist. But I didn't want to like oversaturate it too much, so that, I don't know. I'm just super excited, and I'm excited for the vault songs. If you were wondering, I am going to listen to it in order. I got to get through the normal order of the album as Taylor has laid it out. So, yeah. But let's talk more about books. So, during reading sprints, because there were 2 reading sprints when I got home, during the first one, I finished down to a science. I only got to like 68% last night. I hardly touched it. when I went to bed, I read like a chapter, if that. And then I was like, I'm too tired. I'm crashing. So I'm going to give this 3 stars. I might bump it up to 3.5 stars. Oh, I just got so frustrated. Didn't realize it was going to be a slow burn. This book covers like 3 years of their life, not including the epilogue. Ellie and Mia don't get together, don't become a couple in any way until 96%. Even on slow burns, like Mariana Zapata, I mean, the really good slow burn authors, I need more than 4% of our main characters being a couple. So that really, I was kind of like, 4 stars. 4 stars is rounding it up, but that's fine. I feel like it's 4 stars. I mostly enjoyed the writing style. There has been a couple little things I didn't really like the passage of time felt natural, and it didn't bother me that we were constantly having these time skips or that they were really pointed out. I mean, I only kind of really ever noticed them when it'd be like, oh yeah, it's been 2 weeks since this happened, or oh yeah, it's been a couple months since this happened, which is an event that we read about. So it felt natural. I'm fine with slow burns. There was like no steam. There was a little bit of steam at the end. The most steamiest part is Ellie taking care of herself while she's fantasizing about Mia. At 76%, we see Ellie go on a date with another woman and on a couple of dates and then make out with this other woman. And I'm just like, if we're going to make it a slow burn, and I get that maybe this is the author trying to be like showing us like how Ellie is really kind of come into her own sexuality and acceptance of herself kind of situation. I can understand that, but I don't want to see it. I am very much in the romance reader camp where once our 2 main characters have met in the book, reunion, like if it's them re-meeting, whatever, they're meeting for the first time, I don't want them to date anybody else. We had a bunch of ex drama a couple of times with Mia's serious ex who they were engaged. That was kind of around the time when I updated you last night, which is what prompted Ellie to really kind of dig deep and figure out why she was so upset about the fact that Mia was meeting up with her ex when she was in town. And that's kind of what prompted her really kind of trying to assess and figure out her own sexuality and wants and needs. That was like the main trigger. And then she pops back up in the end, and then I did not like some of the choices. It was made very clear by Mia that they were just friends. But Ellie's heart was broken when they kissed around When I Left You, and to constantly then have Ellie's heart breaking and not wanting to ruin the friendship, but knowing she's in love with Mia, but Mia rejected her. Mia wouldn't listen to her when she kind of tried to explain that she wasn't drunk. She didn't try that hard, but I mean, she is an awkward person. She struggles with social relationships of all formats except with her twin sister, and even then, sometimes it's a struggle for her to actually say and formulate the words to how she's feeling and what's going on with her. And so I didn't like that Mia didn't actually listen to her, was jumping to conclusions and kind of was like brushing her off. And, you know, and then we find out that Mia's been in love with her practically forever and has been pining after her. And I'm like, then why did we see you date like 6 other people throughout the book? And she makes a point to say that she hasn't dated anybody since they kissed, but that's not true. She may not have dated anybody seriously, but she had gone on a couple of dates. And maybe they didn't work out and she just kind of realized, I can't even try this. But she at least did try. So I don't know. I believe in their HEA, but I feel like they both need to go to therapy and couples counseling, because Ellie really needs to kind of stand up for herself a little bit in her feelings and her emotions, and really kind of feel comfortable enough with Mia to really open up in that way with her for the relationship. And Mia oh boy. Also, I should mention the like thing that finally made Ellie like come clean on her feelings was, you know, Mia as a firefighter, she gets in a pretty bad accident. It's not super dire, but it's enough that like she like broke her arm or something, and she may or may not have a concussion. I wasn't 100% clear on that. They didn't really touch base on it. Outside of some things that the doctor said made it sound like the doctor was talking to her like she had a concussion, but nobody said she had it. Actually said in the book she had a concussion. But that was like 90-ish%, 90+%. And then Ellie takes her home, and then this is when they have their big come to at the end of the book. So I just, I don't know. I'm just kind of frustrated with the pacing of their relationship, and I wanted more, as I said, than 4% of them being together. Never mind the fact that Mia has this horrific backstory, and what she experiences, this event that she does as a firefighter that injures her, I was bawling my eyes out because it was so horrendous, and I wasn't expecting that, let alone I'm someone who's very my emotions get easily affected by those that are around me, which is why I really struggle with really angsty books, because they will just not trigger in a usual sense, but I just feel so empathetic and like put myself in the character's shoes so much that I will feel their emotions maybe too much. And so I can't handle angst, because I will start crying. And I mean, I'm very easy to make cry as it is, but that's why I tend to try to stay away from really angsty books, because if I have some pent-up emotions that I myself haven't been purging, it will come through my emotional purging for the characters. So yeah, that had me. Yeah. Parental death, near-death situations for side characters. And then talk of parental death. Technically, through most of the book, Ellie mentions it off and on. Ellie also mentions when her dad died, she basically stopped eating and sleeping for a year until she was hospitalized. So, there's that too. So yeah, I just feel like it took too long for Mia to really open up 100% with Ellie. So like I said, right now I'm setting it at 3 stars. I might bump it up to 3.5, but if I decide to later, I'm still going to leave my ratings on Goodreads at 3. I don't know. I'm very torn on it, but despite all that, it was still, I feel like it's a decent first start to a sapphic romance. So if you are interested in sapphic romance and the things that I've talked about that bother me, you don't think will bother you, I definitely would recommend this as a beginning starter sapphic romance. So yeah. As for reading prompts, I know, and now I'm all, hold on. Sorry, I had to blow my nose real quick because my nose was running because I was crying, never mind allergies and things like that. So as for reading challenges that I use this for, this did work for Ever After Street for Romanceopoly, so I will be rolling a new Romanceopoly tonight as well. So this is LGBTQ is like the genre or theme prompt, but the more specific one that I had was read a sapphic romance. As for the other reading challenges, for Guildathon, I applied this to new composition, which is read a new to you author. For Feels Like Summer, I applied this to June release. Oh, I should also mention, I was going off on this book yesterday because I was like, it came out a month ago. It came out in 2022, so it's still only like a year old, but it did come out in 2022, not 2023. For Summer Reading Challenge, I applied this to the main character is a part of the LGBTQ plus community. For the 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I applied this to the Weekends After Hours Till Dawn Tour. One of those prompt options is color of the sunrise on the cover, and they specifically had yellow, orange, or red, and this is a red cover. For Read the Season, I applied this to Holiday Number 1 for the letter I for the series name. Then for the Little Cafe Readathon, I applied this to Cherry Kool-Aid, which is a Team Cherry drink prompt, and that is red cover. So that worked for every single one of my prompts, or every single one of my reading challenges and readathons I have going on right now, which was why I picked that one up right away, because I was like, this ticks off boxes for everything. It also, I could tell I also didn't enjoy it as much because it took me from the 4th to the 6th, and this book is under 200 pages. So usually I can read those in less than a day. So that also kind of tells you, that also tells me that why I was kind of knocking it down reading wise, because I just wasn't as compelled to continue reading it. It was very put downable for me. So as for other books, today when I got home and I was making dinner, I did pick up a new audiobook. I was looking for something specific to fit one of the Summer Reading Challenge prompts that I didn't have a potential book for already planned on my TBR. And so I was just kind of looking through what I had marked on Hoopla, and then what was kind of on my ideal list for Summer Reading Challenge. And I ended up picking, this book by Maria Luis, but I totally spaced what its name is, so I will pull it up here. Hold Me Something, maybe? Yeah, Hold Me Today. So this is the first book in a Put a Ring on It series, which I guess is kind of loosely based off of like, it's like, I guess a cheap version of like The Bachelor or something like that, but it's not really set around that. I'm only like 6% into this. I didn't get very far. It's a very long audiobook. It's like over 11 hours, which I was surprised for a contemporary romance. But it seems like our hero was on the show and then he's not anymore. But from what I remember, the heroine, and I don't have their names quite memorized, I feel like maybe the hero's name is Nick, but the heroine is trying to open her own salon. She has paid $10,000 to a renovator to turn this old flower shop into a salon, and it was a scam. He has taken her money and ran. So she is going to try to convince her best friend's older brother, who does have a renovation business, to assist where he can. She had a crush on him when they were growing up, and so it seems like it's also going to have some sort of fake dating trope between them. And he was the one who was on this show that we saw in the prologue, and he was kind of forced by production to propose to like the last woman standing, even though he really didn't want to. And he had previously had a discussion with this person like earlier on in the run of the show, and they both realized that they just weren't really into each other that much. So yeah, we'll see how that aspect kind of comes back into, if it even does, the book. But I'm interested to start it. They're both Greek heritage. It seems like both of their parents might have either come from Greece or their grandparents came from Greece, but it seems like we're gonna get a lot of like Grecian culture, and so I'm excited to see how this kind of rolls out. But like I said, I'm only a few chapters in 6%, so I don't really have too much of opinion yet. So this is the audiobook I will be continuing here. Hopefully I can get it done this weekend so I can have audiobook open for next week, because next week is the fan fiction readathon. As for ebook, my next ebook I plan to pick up is Jilted by Kelly Jamieson. This is the first book in her, let me see if it'll tell me what it is, Promise Harbor Wedding series. This is another book I'm picking up for the summer reading challenge. This is one of the ones that they mentioned in their Trope Talk episode, specifically the one where they talked about weddings. And one of the Ripped Bodice summer bingo prompts is Left at the Altar, and that happens in this book. So I'm specifically picking it up to cover those two ones, but I'm sure it'll work for other things I have going on. But my hold on Libby came in for the ebook of this, so I'm going to get that done just so I can get it done as quick and return it. And this is like the first Libby book I've checked out in like a couple of months. It just doesn't have as much of what I actually want to read available, which is disappointing. So hopefully my next Romanceopoly roll I'll be able to apply to either of those books that I am picking up. But yeah, so let's do the quest calendar really quick, and then I can go and take a shower and try to get things taken care of before Speak Now drops. So where we last left was assisting in evacuations for Athelia, whatever it was. So maybe now we're going to be doing shielding information. Okay, yeah. Hey, look. Yeah, so shielding, and then I'm guessing tomorrow will be the like activating the fleet situations. That was the 3 parts of the plan. So some scientists on the Security Council have developed a satellite defensive shield. It could use some minor tweaks, but needs to be fully installed to have any effect. They are asking anyone with sufficient technical experience to help install and calibrate them. So 1, what do you know about the technology? 2, tolerate the pressures of working in the lower atmosphere. 3, install the satellite. 4, calibrate the satellite. And 5, collect a reward. Okay, so if you have time to help put up a few satellites, repeat steps 2 through 5 2 times. If you have Shield the Planet, which we do, noted down from an earlier page, repeat steps 2 through 5 4 times instead. So basically that's just collecting more credits. So let us just get right into it. So I will grab my dice and we will move forward. So number 1, what do you know about the technology? So this is an intellect roll reminder student. We do have student, and our intellect is a +1, so that's a +3, and that is a 19. Perfect. So 22. If the result is 15 or more, you previously have had a chance to look closely at and interact with some similar technology before. Gain a +2 bonus to every roll to install number 3 and calibrate number 4 below. Okay, so number 2, tolerate the pressures of working in the lower atmosphere. This is just a constitution roll, and we will need 11 or more, which is typical for just a straight skill check. Or trait check. That's a 17 on the die, so we are fine. You have no problems working at this altitude. So number 3, install the satellite. So this is strength reminder engineering. We do have engineering, but our strength is a -2, so they offset each other. But we get our bonus +2 from above. So we just get the +2. And that is a 13, so 15 total. Okay, if the result is 15 or more, this was easy and seems to match up with others around it. The satellite is staying put as instructed. Gain a +2 bonus when collecting your reward. Number 5 below. Okay, and then calibrating. This is intellect and computers. So once again, our intellect is a 1, and we do have computers. So that is a +3 total to this, or actually +5 because we also get the bonus. And that is an 18. So we are 23. The satellite quickly responds to the broadcasted commands of the others, and the shields section lights up. Gain a +2 bonus when collecting your reward. Number 5 below. So now we are at number 5, collect your reward, and we get a +4 to this. And that is a natural 20, which doesn't really matter much because the highest result is 16 or more, but we get 6 credits. So on to round number 2, and we do not repeat number 1 as again, it's just 2 through 5. So we have to do that 3 more times. So we'll try to get through these quickly. So tolerating the pressure, once again, is a constitution roll. We need a 10 or more. It's a 16 on the, or we need 11 or more. Well, technically, I need a 10 or more on the dice. But we rolled a 16, so we're good there. So install the satellite. All right, that is a 13. So we are at 15, so we get the +2 to the reward. For number 4, calibrate the satellite. That is a 7, and we had, what did we had? A +5. So that puts us at 12. So between 8 and 14, the satellite comes online after a while, and this section of the shield lights up. Gain a +1 bonus when collecting your reward. So now we do our wards, so we get a +3 this time. And that is a 4, so 7. So between 6 and 10, we collect 2 credits. So we are at 8 total, 2 more times. So this first roll is a 16 on the die, and that's for tolerating the pressures. Installing the satellite, this is just a +2. Natural 20, we are good. That gives us the +2 bonus to collect our reward. Number 3, that's a 10, so that puts us at 15 total for this one, which is what we need for the highest thing. So another +2, so we get a +4 to our reward. And that is 11, so 15. So we collect 4 credits for rolling between 11 and 15. Okay, on to our final round. So that is fine on the die. We are at a 15, so we are above the 11. Number 3, install the satellite. That is a 1. That is a 1. Okay, we are going to use our 1 reroll for the page. We literally can't do worse, and it's a double 1 that time. So that's an 11, so that's just the +2. So 13, so once again, that's the +1 option, the middle option. So +1 to the reward at the end. Calibrate the Seattle. I'm like going too fast for my brain here. My brain is going faster than my mouth. So calibrating the satellite. Rolled a 15. We need 15 or more, and that one we have a +5, so we get the +2. So we have a +3 bonus to our final collect the reward, and that is a 16. So we are 16 or more is the final one. So we collect 6 credits twice. We got a 2 credits and 4 credits. So 12, 13, 14, 18 total credits for this. And that's it for the quest calendar. So I'm going to get my coffee table cleaned up a little bit, get the Romanceopoly board set up really quick, and I will be back to do my Romanceopoly rolls. So hold on to that fact. Okay, we have our thing set up. We are on Ever After Street. And here are my dice. Here are our cards. So let me just open my book here to my page where I keep track of things. Okay, and let's just get to it. So that is 8 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Journey's End. Let me just glance in here. Okay, so I have done Journey's End. So we will roll again. And that is 11. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's Welcome to Romanceopoly. So roll again. Good roll. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Post office. I believe we've also done the post office. Yes, we have done the post office. So, again, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The library after Fang Alley. We have also done that one as well. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, we'll keep going. If we make it back to the start, I might just go the next one that we haven't done. We will see. I haven't had this issue so far this year. But another 11. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The Gym. I don't think we have done The Gym yet. So, nope, we have not. Okay, so if you are doing genre only, it is a historical romance, but a specific prompt is let's do some heavy lifting. Read the longest book on your TBR. So, I'm going to pause and check the books on my TBR and see what the longest book might be. And I will be back to see if one of the 2 books I'm currently reading already fits that. Okay, so I checked the books that I had on my official TBR of what I have kind of planned the rest of the month. And technically, Hold Me Today, the book that the audiobook I just started, has 5 less pages than In a Jam by Kate Canterbury from the editions that I'm reading. So, for The Gym, that would be Kate Canterbury's In a Jam. So, I'm guessing that will either be the next ebook I pick up. I don't know if there's an audiobook for it. So, I think after I finish Jilted, I'll pick that up, or I might just start In a Jam now and save Jilted because I do have a little bit of time for Jilted. So we'll see what happens. But I think I might be switching up what I might pick up next, but you will find out tomorrow. I will see you all tomorrow. I hope you have a great Friday and have a good night and happy almost Speak Now time. Happy Friday. Let's talk about things. So, happy officially Speak Now day. I did listen to Speak Now last night when it dropped. So, initial thoughts. I haven't listened to it too much. I listened to it this morning when I was getting ready for work. And I listened to a couple songs when I was at work, but it was a fairly steady day, so I hardly listened to any podcast. I hardly listened to any music. So, but I definitely I added my most favorite songs of Speak Now to my normal listen to default playlist, so I can start helping those streaming numbers. But as for my thoughts on the normal songs, so not vault songs from the vault, overall, I am really happy with the production value. A lot of them just feel so much more layered and deeper, instrumental wise, and just I feel like you can see the more layers there, and it's I think my favorites, The Story of Us, it somehow hits even harder and feels even shorter. That's still one of my favorite songs off of that album. Let's see. Mine, always a banger, always one of my favorites. we have to talk about Better Than Revenge. I was one of the ones in the camp of don't change it, don't change the lyrics. I understand why, well, that's not okay anymore, but I feel like it's the same thing similar with, I see a hair like standing straight up here, but I don't feel anything. Oh, here we go, right here. I don't know what my hair is just like doing. It's just like doing its own thing here. I don't even know anymore. So I can still see it's, I don't know why hair is standing straight up right there. I don't know. It's like bothering me that it's like all funky there, which is, I don't know why it's being all weird all of a sudden, whatever. Better Than Revenge. She did change the lyrics from she's better known for the things that she does on the mattress, whoa, which I get it. It's kind of like Misery Business by Paramore. You know, feminism has evolved and things have changed, and it's definitely more of a women empowering women type of feeling right now. So I can understand why she might not want to sing that anymore. But, you know, there's just something, I mean, it just fits the song. And the petty revenge that song is. And am I condoning it? Am I saying that that's how we should do things in real life? No. But to get those thoughts out of our brains as women, we got to be able to sing the song. So that is probably the only song where I will be adding the original version into my playlist. So, instead of doing the Taylor's version, but you know, I have the original purchases from it, so it's not like I'm actively streaming it. But even if you want to actively string the old ones, I won't hate you for it. I understand why, because there are certain connections for some of the songs. Haunted didn't feel quite as epic to me. Something felt a little pulled back in the production. I don't know if they used real strings for all of it, if part of it wasn't real strings. I'm not sure what happened there. Haunted just, it felt a little bit different to me, just not quite as epic. I haven't listened to it enough though to kind of really pinpoint what exactly I'm missing from it. Last Kiss. I loved Last Kiss, but I really had a revelation. The new form of production on Last Kiss, that bass drum kick, I could feel it like resonating in my soul. Last Kiss, I feel, really was a song that is elevated with today's production. Long Live was amazing as it normally is. I will say, I still love Mean. I do wish that for the kitsch of it, she would have pushed the twang a little bit more, but I get it. We haven't been country in 13 years or however long it's been. So, overall, I am very happy with the production. All of the normal tracks were produced by Christopher Rowe, who was someone that she kind of worked through in those earlier times. So I think the production that he has been doing on the re-recordings, I'm a fan of. As for the vault tracks, I had some issues. And then afterwards, I was looking at the production rights, and big surprise, my favorites of the vault tracks were produced by Aaron Dessner. And the ones that I were like, I like this song. I think this is a good song, but it doesn't feel like Speak Now. The instrumentation, the production doesn't feel like Speak Now. Surprise, surprise, those were Jack Antonoff songs. I really wish she would stop using Jack on the vault tracks and on these re-recording things. I think the only one I've really enjoyed from him is All Too Well 10-minute version, because he really did change it so that there still is a need to have normal All Too Well and the 10-minute version. So the 6 vault tracks, Electric Touch featuring Fall Out Boy is my favorite vault track. I am obsessed with it. After I listened to everything once through, I listened to Electric Touch like 4 more times. It is so good. Could it have pushed more on the rock? There was definitely better like rock sounds on the normal album, and I feel like we could have pushed the rock a little bit more with this, but I'm still super happy with what it is, and I feel like even more so compared to one of the other songs on the vault in the vault tracks. When Emma Falls in Love, I think, is like the classic Speak Now storytelling situation. It's super fun. I enjoyed When Emma Falls in Love. I can definitely see why I didn't make the album in the first place. Like, I don't wish it was there over something else. But oh my goodness. It definitely has that classic Taylor Swift storytelling, and I think it's super fun. And I really love the chorus, because we mentioned books and Cleopatra in a small town and just the evolution of the storytelling throughout it. It's like classic Taylor Swift, and I love it. I Can See You. This is the first Jack Antonoff one. I like this song. I really, really like this song. However, it sounds like kind of like a Beach Boys inspired sound, which is fine. But like I said, like, I will listen to this song, but if I think about this song and it being a Speak Now song, it doesn't click for me. It doesn't sound like a Speak Now song to me. Just, there's nothing that says Speak Now to it to me, outside of the fact that like Taylor Swift wrote the lyrics. But I need it to fit the vibe of the album better, and I get these are vault tracks and we've never heard them before, and it's bringing something new. But I am appreciative that it went also kind of different to where we've gone before, with that like Beach Boys vibe to it. So I'm definitely intrigued. I have seen some rumors going around that may or may not be the potential Taylor Swift song that may or may not be on the Barbie soundtrack. A lot of people have been speculating, because there's one song from the movie soundtrack that hasn't been released yet, so everybody was assuming it was going to be Taylor Swift because she hadn't announced, track list for Speak Now or something. And then everyone was like, well, we already kind of know the Taylor's version ones, so it's got to be a vault track or something like that. So I've seen some talking and some clowning happening that might be the Taylor Swift Barbie song, if it is a Taylor Swift Barbie song. Castles Crumbling. This was also produced by Jack. Oh boy, I was highly anticipating this song because I love Paramore, I love Hailey, I love Taylor Swift. I think expecting like the rocky themes, after listening to the Fall Out Boy song, I was like, it kind of tempered my expectations a little bit to not expect it to like not be as like rock inspired as some of the songs on the album, like Better Than Revenge, Story of Us, and things like that. But I was so disappointed in this song. And Hailey got like practically an own verse by herself, which is great. I mean, I'm not someone who's cared about that. I'm not one of the people that was like, I need more Lana Del Rey. I thought Snow on the Beach was perfect as it is. And then when they redid it, I liked the production. It felt a little more acoustic-y and not overly produced when they added the more Lana Del Rey, but then they removed some of my favorite parts. So, I don't know. I'm not one who is like, this is the song, how she created it. Castles Crumbling is meh. for me. I was really disappointed. I mean, it kind of was like a ballady slow song, and it didn't sound like, once again, the sound of it, instrumentally, production wise, didn't sound like Speak Now. Honestly, it sounded a lot like some of the Midnight songs. And this is Speak Now. This is not Midnight's. And I think this was one of the ones I was super anticipating. I know a lot of people were super anticipating it. And the message is fine. The lyrics are fine. I mean, I don't see myself coming back to this one very much. I could have a reckoning, a fathoming of it later and enjoy it a lot more. But on first initial listen with it, I'm kind of disappointed in it. And I can 100% see, whether Haley is on it or not, why it did not make the cut for Speak Now. Then we have Foolish One, which is an Aaron Dessner. This does have some of the more kind of like 2 a.m. Sounds and production styles for the songs he did on that version of Midnight's. But I feel like there's still enough acoustic and country-based ones that I can hear some like synthy organ stuff kind of happening in the background, and I'm like, it doesn't quite fit going with those strong synths, but it didn't bother me as much as the other two songs before it. And I also really liked the lyrics in this one, so once again, I am an Aaron Dessner stan when it came to these vault tracks. And then as for Timeless, this one almost had me. This is probably my favorite of the three that Jack did. It starts out really well. I was like, okay. I was like, all right, Jack, you did it. You finally understood the assignment of Speak Now. But halfway through, I think once we hit maybe not even halfway through, I think once we hit the first chorus or at the end of the first chorus, all of a sudden we're getting synths added in to these acoustic-y feelings. And it just took me out of the song. I did not love the song, didn't need this. The song was absolutely perfect how it was through the first verse and first portion of the chorus. We don't need all of these synths. And I get Jack has his style, his signature that he puts on these songs. But when it comes to these re-recordings, I want it to fit the album. I want to be able to see how it fits into the album. I love the lyrics of Timeless. It totally, that portion of it is totally Speak Now era. I can totally see it. But once again, he just has to throw something in there that's so overtly him. And I'm sorry, but Speak Now wasn't a Jack album. Speak Now isn't Midnight. Speak Now isn't Reputation or 1989. Like, Speak Now is Speak Now. And so, I don't know. I just, I didn't mean for this to kind of turn into, like, a hate on Jack thing. Because I like this, I really like, when it comes to the songs that are not vault tracks, Taylor version songs, I like his production style on Reputation. I like the stuff he's done on Midnight's. I still had some issues with Midnight's, some production choices that were especially on the original version, but there's still some things that I don't quite understand why he did what he did. But I don't know. I just... Electric Touch is where it's at. I also added When Emma Falls in Love to my, default playlist. Foolish One, I Can See You, and Timeless I added to like my bigger playlist of Taylor Swift music, so that'll pop in. and I left Castle Scrumbling off for now because I will listen to it. I will just kind of listen to the album as a whole. But as of right now, man, I know Taylor likes Jack, and I get Jack's a great producer, but I'm ready for her to find a new producer, I think. And I love Aaron Dessner, and I love the way Aaron talks about Taylor. I don't know. And I just feel like Aaron is like the folk father who's just so proud of all of his babies and his music. And not that Jack doesn't love music, but I just feel like I can feel it more from Aaron, and I connect more with his production style musically than I do with Jack. But I think even though I love the songs that her and Aaron make together, she obviously is very comfortable with Aaron being open about some things, maybe more so than other people that she produces with. I think I'm ready for her I'm ready for her to kind of shift gears a little bit and maybe do something new with her next, like, full new album. TS11, as we say. But there's my thoughts on Speak Now. And then, now that we have vault tracks, I will throw out there, I haven't really mentioned it too much, but I have been planning to do a Speak Now Taylor's version book tag. So I already had all of my questions and stuff figured out for the songs that we already had. So I just had to figure out the vault tracks, and I have figured out those. I'm planning on filming it tomorrow morning. I have to dig out my purple sweater because apparently the only purple things I have are like winter clothes. So I need to dig that out so I can wear purple, and I'm going to film that up, and that'll be up by the time you're watching this. So I will link it up above, but I'm pretty excited to do it. And if you are a Taylor Swift fan or a Speak Now fan, and you want to do it, definitely check it out. There are prompts for each of the songs. And the last thing I'm going to say about it is I really hope that there's plans for us to get acoustic versions, at the very least of Haunted. I need a Haunted, Taylor's version, acoustic version. Please and thank you. Okay. We're going to stop there. Because I could go on longer, I promise. I'm not as big into, like, the theories. Like, I call myself a Swiftie, but I don't really do the clowny stuff. I'm not doing the theories. Like, when I watch things, I wonder if things are Easter eggs, and I'll pick up on, like, the super obvious ones, but I don't, like, go out of my way to be, like, a super clown and look at all the theories and all that. I'll hear them on, like, the podcasts I listen to, and I'm like, huh, that's interesting. But I also feel like people take some of, like, a lot of these things as Easter eggs when they're really not. And so I also like to be surprised. And yeah, so let's do the quest calendar. And then we will talk a little bit about books to wrap up this week. So we were doing shielding, so I'm guessing now we're going to do the fleeting step. Oh, okay. Never mind. We get to go shopping, it looks like. So maybe we'll do this and get a chance to, like, upgrade our ship before we go out and, like, join the fleet or something. So shipyards and upgrade centers are full of people buying up every last piece of equipment to outfit their ships. The Security Council has managed to secure a discounted rate due to the emergency. Purchase any ship upgrades that you can afford. So we have a generator, which is 20 credits, cannons, which is 30 credits, and teleporter, which is 30 credits. We can also buy ship parts for 5 credits each. I mean, we have more than enough money to buy everything. We have 407 credits. So, let me flip to our ship and see what we can have space for. Okay, so the generator is 20 credits, and that is equipped to the engine room, which we do have empty. There's the cannons, and that can apply to the weapons, and that will give us plus 10 to our aim. And then the teleporter goes in cargo, which is also empty, and that gives a plus 1 to our shield. So, you know what? We can always change them out when we buy new. So I think I'm going to do it. I'm just going to buy all of them. We have the money. You know, it'll be nice to kind of get those extra little bonuses. Let me make sure there's nothing else on the back here that we need to know. If you have the boost the fleet note, okay, we don't have that. So, okay. And then the rest of this is just that. So, generator. Okay. So we are spending 80 credits to purchase all 3 of those, so I will get the stickers added to my ship. And then the only thing that we won't have an upgrade in is our labs. That's the only open slot we'll have left. And then we'll also still need a person that can go in the weapons room. But I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll get the stats updated on the ship. That was super quick, not what I expected. So I'm assuming next week we're going to start trying to fight or take down this planet eater monster thing. So let us talk about books. I told you yesterday, before I did my Romanceopoly roll, I was going to start Jilted by Kelly Jamieson. I did not, because after I did my Romanceopoly roll, I was like, I have 20 days or 21 days or whatever it is from Libby to read Jilted. So instead I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with my Romanceopoly roll. So I picked up In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. Weirdly enough, this also starts with like a jilted bride left almost at the altar is what she says, because her fiance calls our heroine when she's like in the waiting room like a couple hours before the wedding, but she's like dressed and ready to go, and they're just kind of getting things set up and waiting for the final adjustments and things. So weirdly enough, but I still have Jilted, so I don't know. I'll have to look at, I know as far as the summer reading challenge, In a Jam is working for one of the other prompts, but it would also work for the same prompts as Jilted. I'll have to see if I already have it applied to something else for Ripped Bodice, because since I'm finishing this one, I might apply that to the left at the altar first, but I'll see if one of them might fit some other prompts that we have going. But I do plan on reading both of them, so apparently it's a double left at the altar book month. As for what's kind of going on, I am 18% into this, or 28%, something like that. 18% in. I'm on chapter 7. So this is Shay, and she has been dating her fiance for a couple years. You know, they were moved in together, that type of thing. And she is pretty much heartbroken by the situation. She's a kindergartner teacher, and when she's kind of trying to figure out what to do with her life, basically, it ends up engines. Okay. Apparently I can't place these stickers and talk at the same time. That's too much for my brain to handle. But so when she's at her like best friend's house, just kind of vegging out and going through her like woe is me phase, she ends up getting approached by some lawyer serving dude, and he is giving her papers, and the papers end up being that she has inherited a tulip farm in a small town that was her step grandmother's, farm. And it seems like her mother has kind of been traveling the world at different times. And she tends to kind of get left at like boarding schools or different kinds of things like that. And at one point when her mother remarried, Shay was dropped off at her stepfather's mother's tulip farm. And this was like a year in high school or something like that. So she is back and she has a year to kind of figure out what she's going to do with it. Otherwise, the historical society or something in the town is going to be able to claim it. She also has to get married within a year or at the end of a year, which I don't like that. We could have just left it at a year. I don't like that was kind of thrown in there. And I know her grandmother didn't know this, but I'm really hoping that they're not going to try to push this on her, especially because she literally was just left at the altar. You think she's going to be ready for marriage in less than a year? Like, so I feel kind of bad for her there, but she's going to take a sabbatical from work for a year and she's just going to enjoy the farm while she has it. She's obviously like, I'm not going to get married in a year. That's not going to happen, but I'm going to enjoy my time on the farm and kind of try to figure out what I want to do with my life and go from there. I can substitute at the small town on the side, as a kindergartner teacher. And so she's just kind of she's going to try to figure things out for herself. And being as she lived with her fiance, she doesn't really have a place to live now. So she's going to take her chance and try to figure out what the next steps in her life are. So she travels back to this small town and the neighbor is also another farming. And it was actually a friend of hers from high school. It seemed like he was kind of like the nerdy, shy, pudgy boy and who was pining for her and nothing never went anywhere. And, he was kind of hurt when she left the small town and went wherever she went after that. And he was in love with her and he is now a single father because he has adopted his niece. And I just love them. It's a crazy busy farm. They've got a greenhouse. They've got honey and stuff. They've got like goats that they're doing dairy stuff for. They've got cows they're doing dairy stuff for. And so it's just like a very busy, lots of things going on kind of farm, like a couple of the ones around here that I'm used to, but I think it's super fun. The little girl is adorable. She's in kindergarten, but she's struggling with kindergarten because she's having behavior issues stemming for, the situation with not having her father or losing her father. I'm not 100% sure. I just know the father isn't in the picture, which is also the case with Shay. Her father wasn't in the picture. And then not being with her mom and kind of being abandoned and left in this case, though, instead of, I guess her mom is in prison. So that's why she isn't with her mother. And so our hero has adopted his niece. And, Shay being a kindergartner teacher and really kind of knowing how to connect with kids, they have this instant connection. She just knew how to talk to her, not treat her like a baby, but not treat her too adult, and is really just kind of like understanding that she just has so much energy. And she's like, do you want to see the goats? Do you want to see the puppies? Do you want to see the chickens? And she's just like, yeah, sure. Let's go meet your goats or whatever. And I just love it. And then Shay starts kind of helping her because she gets kicked out of summer school because she was cussing a lot and having some behavior issues. So Shay's like, I'll help her. And he's just, he's all grumpy about it. And she's just like, I don't want to see a kid be forced to like repeat kindergarten. She's like, at that age, that'll do a lot of emotional trauma. And it seems like she might be having some like bullying or struggles making friends on top of it. And so she is like, no, I'm going to help her because, all kids deserve help if they need it. And if the school isn't, you know, going to actually help them, you know, what they need. And, you know, she's like, obviously she's a bright young girl, and it's just, you know, just trying to figure out what works for her when it comes to learning. And I love it. It's at 18%, and I'm really loving it. I am loving it so far. I had to put it down last night because it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I have to go to bed. But I was so amped up after speaking out. I was like, I'm going to read a little bit and try to calm my brain down and settle my emotions or whatever. And I could have read all night. I am super loving it. I have read a couple Kate Canterbury's before. There's actually a mention to her Talbot's Cove, and I've read the first 2 books in that series. Maybe it only has 2, maybe it has 3 books. The first one I enjoyed. The second one I did not. I think the first one was an MM romance. Or maybe the third one's an MM romance. I don't know. I read them several years ago. But this is also one that when buzzing about romance was talking about this book, I feel like at the end of last year. I was talking to Becky about it in the Discord a couple of times, and she's like, you really should read it. And now I'm finally reading it, like 9 months later, 6 months later, however long it's been. It's definitely been more than 6 months. And I'm just like, yep, I'm enjoying it so far. So I'm intrigued to see what's going on. We've got like a Grumpy Sunshine kind of a thing going. He also, what is his name? I'm spacing on his name. Okay, his niece is Jenny. Her name is Imogen, but they call her Jenny. Let me go back because they're at the titles or the like chapters. So it'll say like who's Noah. That's his name. Noah also proposes like a marriage of convenience. And he's just like, we can come together. And I guess he used to be, before this whole situation happened, I guess his father has also died and his mom had MS and like moved to like somewhere where she can be better taken care of. And so he ended up coming back from like New York City or something and taking over the farm. And that was something that they both like talked about when they were in high school, about how they just wanted to get out of this small town. And he's back. And I guess he used to be like a lawyer, contract lawyer for like companies that did like acquisitions and mergers or something. So he's just like, we could do a marriage of convenience. He's like, or let me see the contract, because that's not okay. And the lawyer shouldn't have put a marriage stipulation on this. And I'm pretty sure we can get it thrown out. And she's just like, it's fine, whatever. It's fine, whatever. And I'm just like, well, at least let him get rid of the marriage stipulation. Like, So I liked that he immediately was like, that's absurd, because that's what I thought when I heard it. And I was like, but we'll see if she takes him up on this marriage of convenience offer. It doesn't sound like she's interested in it, but we'll see. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm really enjoying her. You know, she's definitely kind of going through it emotionally and mentally, but at the same time, she's still just like a sunny, happy person naturally. So, you know, even though she has moments of getting down, I'm enjoying them so far. So that is a very long talk about the 18% I have read in this book. And I am filming this clip early because it is, well, when I started this clip, it was just after 6 o'clock. But now it's almost 7 o'clock because we were at 35 minutes. And I just can't stop talking about things that I love. This is going to be a long week. I'm sorry if you're with me to this point. I'm sorry. I have a lot of things to say. But I'm going to read the rest of the night, and yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes from here. And I think I'm going to be able, I'm going to struggle to like put this book down when I have to go to bed or do something later tonight. So, as for Hold Me Today by Marilla Louise that I talked about yesterday, I'm still at like 6% or something. I didn't get a chance to listen to the audiobook at all today. But like I mentioned yesterday, my plan is to listen to most of this if I can this weekend, because Monday starts the fanfiction readathon. So I have audiobook plans when that comes around. And I think that's everything I have for you today. So I hope you had a great week. I hope you had a good holiday week. Things were crazy for sure because we only had 3 days of work. Today was another stressful, super busy day. So many freaking parts I had to put away. And then it was like, there wasn't always a bunch of people at the counter, but it's like, if there wasn't 1 or 2 people at the counter, the phone was ringing, and I can't tell you how many times I was just ready to go out and cut our phone cord. But then we wouldn't have internet either. But it's just and please, if you call a place of business, especially a repair shop, or like no matter what kind of repairs they do, and they don't pick up, please realize they're not picking up because there's probably customers at the counter, or they're in the middle of something and are unable to physically pick up the phone. So please leave a voicemail and we will return the call. There were times when I was dealing with customers and the same number called 4 times. And at one point I was just like, oh my gosh, leave a voicemail. And then the person was like, you can get that. And I was just like, we have a voicemail for a reason. They're just going to call incessantly. And then I had somebody else call and hang up on me 3 times today. And I was just like, I can't look up your carburetor kit if I don't have your engine numbers. I need your engine numbers to see which one it is. And you can't tell me that your engine numbers don't exist because they're stamped into the metal. But anyway, please be nice to people who are in customer service things. And if they don't answer, please leave a voicemail instead of calling back. It's not an emergency. It really is an emergency unless you are in like a healthcare situation. It is not an emergency. And I'm sorry, but you can't tell me that you didn't know that you would have to mow your lawn at some point. It happens every spring. It happens every summer. We're in the growing season. You can't tell me that you didn't expect that you were suddenly going to have to mow your lawn. But anyway, I'll stop there. I just had to get some of it out. Thank you so much for watching. Since I'm talking about growing season, if you'd like to leave me an emoji down below, leave me something that grows, flowers, trees. I don't know if there's a grass emoji, a lawnmower emoji, you know, whatever you'd like. If you'd like to leave me a comment, let me know. If you are a Taylor Swift fan or you've enjoyed Speak Now, let me know your thoughts. Like I mentioned, stay tuned or check out for my Speak Now book tag. And if you want to film it, I'm not going to like tag anybody, but if you want to do it, please do it. And then let me know if you do so I can check it out. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon with another video.